What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. This is Brandon for Brandon's Show. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Hey, if you guys could give me a thumbs up on my audio volume, my personal audio volume, I'd appreciate it. I might need your guys' help getting the audio right tonight because I had to completely switch to Streamlabs OBS. I'll save you the boring details, but for some reason, things just stopped working. You know how it goes. Wasn't the cat this time, so I've ruled that out already. Anyway, hope everybody's doing good out there. I'm doing pretty good. Let's see what we got in chat. Flat for Life, page 42, Ian Adams, Almost Unbelievable, Ranty, what's up, man? Tay Boo, Chrissy Heavey, Dan Morris, Allie B, Serious Truth, Matrix Media, and Enigma. What's up, guys? Up, please. Up, please. I see up, please. Okay, let's see. Up, 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 up. There we go. I'm messing around with it. All right. I won't know for 30 seconds if it's any good. Let me see if I can turn it up. All right. There. I turned it up quite a bit. Tell me if it is any better now. Now. Tell me if it's any better now. It looks like it's a little higher now. So we'll see how that works. In addition, for some reason, the YouTube chat stopped working. It won't open like it used to. So I don't know. Everybody like updated everything at the same time and totally screwed me or what? But we'll deal with it. At least we got the show going. So that's good. Better? Too loud? Too low? You let me know. Page 42. I'm listening to you. Okay, why don't we talk about Streamlabs? All good? I'm deaf. All good. All right. Flat for Life says it's all good. Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for helping me get that going. Ian says down. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, I'm gonna need impartial help here. Let me pin this message on the top. That's the Streamlabs link. If you want to support the show, tip me for beer money or whatever. There's the link to Streamlabs. Always appreciated. Still good on volume? A little loud. Okay, we'll tinker with it a little bit. There we go. It's not. It's barely hitting the red now. There we go. We'll see how that is. We'll play around with it. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. The best way you can support the show is come on in, bring us an idea, come in, talk, be a guest on the show, come in and sit in the what is it called? Discord, play around with the professional baller trolls, you know, whatever you want. Flat for Life says it's going to be one of those nights. You know, I've had quite the interesting day when it comes to technology. I went up to the post office earlier. I'm sitting in the car. And of course, you have to put your mask on to go in the post office. So I put the mask on. The stupid earbud falls out. And I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up when I get back. I get back, can't find the damn thing. I scoured the entire car, so I lost an earbud. Anyway, that's my sad story for the day. Thrilling, I'm sure. But let's see, who do we have in the Discord? Let's go over there.
Around the curve, but we still see it for 30 minutes sometimes, or however long, and it's not even there. I mean, you know, you're gonna have. It's just like they just completely forget about that. And the selenium eclipse, you know, that is literally impossible.
Say the name of that eclipse again. That was funny.
Yeah, selenium. The impossible eclipse.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Selenium.
Jeremy, don't forget, the globe gives you a bunch of answers, right, and conclusions, but at the end of the day, those aren't factual. That's
I'd rather have no
yeah.
I tell this to them all the time, I'd rather have no answers than a wrong answer. I think it's way better to have no answer than a wrong answer, absolutely,
yeah,
Stacey.
Exactly. I mean, we have some answers, right, and that we're still looking for a lot of them. We're speculating, you know, and that's fine because speculating might get to some truth eventually. But we at least know what we're not on.
Let me know how the Discord sound is, if that's too high for you guys.
It's fine. You can swear all you want. I've heard. The these people in here are insane. So
do they? I'm not sure. I don't want to disrespect Brandon's show or anything. I
swear
apologize for
everyone.
my language.
Swear at everyone. This Stacey, you know how this arena is. This shit is ruthless.
I know.
You could say anything
so
you want
ruthless
on
all day.
What's up, guys? Yeah, swearing.
What up?
We don't really have any rules against swearing around here, to be honest with
Okay.
you. Yeah, I'm pretty loose when it comes to that because I can't help but swear myself. So.
Right. It frustrates you. What are you going to do? You know? You have to get that little bit of fire out of you.
It just comes out naturally too.
Yeah.
I'm used to talking normally with people, and I'm used to talking like street. I mean, they both blend in when they have to. They just, if things are one way, that's fine. If they're not, you lay it down. You don't even think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It just comes out.
It just comes out. It's just how I normally talk. So, what are you gonna do? But
Are you
what's
listening to
really
us?
interesting is I heard you say some of the streets, right? I talked street.
Oh, you've heard me a few times, and I get muted over 24/7.
But that's what made me separate myself just from a lot of things that are happening in the communities right now. Because I've been told a lot about this isn't the streets, these servers. Well, we're bringing people from the streets onto these servers, and I'm out here every single day of my life trying to get the same respect that we talk about as human beings to everybody on these streets, and to show and represent what we want in this world, right?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I see that I'm getting some echo in Discord. Let me see if that can be fixed here. I just closed out Discord. I'm going to reopen it and see about that.
Yeah, and I bring it to the streets every day, to the buses, anywhere I
doubt
am.
that helped, but
The best way I heard of bringing it to the streets was when Stacy said you get a
sounds like
fucking
it's
jet
echoey.
drop
I think I heard that
flyers
before
over
the
a
show,
city.
but it was too late to do anything about it. I was hoping it was
That's
just
you bring it to
how
the
I was
fucking
hearing it.
streets right there.
So what's going on, guys? Let me say hello to everybody. Let people know who's in here. We've got Brian Leakey. What's up, Brian? All right, we'll come.
Yeah, man. Hey, how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing?
There he is. Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm just trying to think of something that doesn't go from sugar to shit in 2 seconds. But I'll be here.
Sugar to shit. What are you referring to?
I don't know. That's a new phrase. I've never.
Like you think of these ideas, man, and they look great and everything, and you start thinking about them, and then wah wah wah. They have a way around it, so.
You came up with a banger last. You had a banger last night, bro. It's too bad it was only 1/8 of an inch, or we would be doing that shit fucking right now.
If it's 1/8 of an inch, then we got to find out how far it is. Man, 1/8 of an inch.
Bro, we can't go.
So we can go. Yeah, dude, we can go however many miles, man. 10 miles is only going to cost that's under $1,000. 10 miles. We got to get a distance that's. Dude, just keep thinking, man. We'll think of something, man. There's got to be a way. It's got to include distance, so it's got to be a test that doesn't have weight involved, doesn't have sag involved, and it's got to be a straight line left to right, which is the easy part. So it's going to have to involve distance, man. So I'm thinking
water levels at anywhere you want in the total distance covered. They come in 1,000-foot rolls for just under $300, and 6 rolls will cover a mile, and you can put in as many water level connections as you want.
Then
you don't
what?
have to worry about sag or nothing. It all works on water level.
Yeah, but then when we got the water level, then what?
You've got level over 6 miles or 10 miles with some
we're trying to
very inexpensive beats digging a trench, connecting some vinyl tube. Look, if you want to measure out, a 1,000-foot long warehouse, what do you think they use? They pull a string for warboards? No. Come on, people.
I feel you, Jimbo.
Level is level everywhere. Flat earthers have to get their so-called, engineering nose out of the glue bag.
actually we do use string lines, but yeah, we check them with water. We do check them with water level.
You do verify with water. You level fields in the south, they're 2,000-3,000 feet long. You're doing it with water levels, not even with lasers.
You know, actually, Jimbo, to lay out some factories, they do use string. They use
Carbon.
yeah, carbon fiber.
Oh yeah,
line.
understandably. Oh yeah. But
Because
they
it's
still
more
use water
accurate.
levels. No, water levels are more accurate.
No, why do they use this line then? That's what they say in the paper. Some of them would prefer to use it because they think it's more accurate.
Well, they think wrong. A lot of people think wrong. And that's part
Are
of the
they doing
problem.
left to right with the line though, or they're not trying to make a horizontal line with it, right? They're just doing left right, no?
They're work
good
boards.
question. I don't know
Call them
exactly
what they are.
I assume they were
I
doing a
didn't have
horizontal line because they're trying to lay it out over distance. But that's a good point. It'd be
Oh,
interesting.
So all this
I don't know.
nonsense,
Yeah, I have no idea.
all this nonsense about the bridge being too long, all this nonsense about them using 26 feet over a 25-mile bridge that's flat over the water, and them having to use 26 feet of extra material, them coming up 26 feet short. That's all BS then. So there is no 26-foot difference in a chord over 25 miles.
After the show, we'll have Brandon crunch the numbers for the 26-mile bridge. That's all.
So if over 25 miles we have a 26-foot differential between the chord and the arc, then
Yeah. For anybody who joined late, I'm having some technical difficulties tonight. I had to completely switch streaming services at the last minute, so there might be some bad audio with the Discord especially. I'm working on it in the background, so apologize. I'm getting mixed results on whether I'm too loud or too low. It sounds like I'm okay, but Discord might be too loud or too low. So I'll keep working on it. Sorry, guys.
We're trying to measure that. We're trying to measure that, though.
Well, you're trying to make it, then measure it, right?
No, we're trying to measure the water, the level water. That's what we're trying to measure.
Well, it'd be level in the device, the full length.
But then we're trying to differentiate, is level curving or is it straight?
No,
Now,
why would you be
we all-
doing that?
Jim, I understand.
The
We all
water
know
level
that
is
it's
level
flat.
at both ends.
Yes, we all
If
know
there
that
were
it's
three
flat.
level spots, they're all level to each other.
Jimbo, it's like, all right.
Do you understand why we want to do some kind of physical test, though, Jimbo?
So people can deny your results and ignore it anyway.
He's got a point, Brandon.
No, that's not why. But I get where you're coming from. I really do. I understand why people think this is a waste of time. I just look at it as it's something I want to do. It'd be a big deal, even actually to try and fail. I think would be worth it for me, just to give it a go. But let me finish saying hello to people. We got Carlos Pagan. What's up, Carlos?
Good afternoon.
What's up, Flat Earth Egypt?
Hello.
Hey, I don't.
Tuning in all the way from Egypt.
Well, welcome to the show. We used to have another Egyptian who would stop in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What's his name? Oh, he's been gone so long I can't even remember his name. It'll come to me. But welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm just jumping from one flat Earth server to the other.
Okay.
Just having fun.
All right. Cool. We got Travis. What's up, Travis?
Hello. What up?
And we've got Jedi. What's up, Jedi?
Hey, what's up, lads? My friend, how are you doing this evening?
Not too bad. And Jeremy.
What up?
Jimbo.
Hey, what up, eh?
Horn.
We didn't get the horn, did we? There we
I'm
go.
not in my truck.
That would be the Midas touch here.
It's just the girl's horn today.
And we got Pebble in the pond. What's up, Pebble?
No niin, terve. Hyvin mennä.
Not too bad. And Stacy B. What's up, Stacy?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. So I don't have a lot planned for tonight, so it's kind of an open dialogue. I'm messing around with a technical issue, surprise, in the background. So you guys feel free to drive the agenda and chat about whatever the hell you want.
Were you listening to Gems earlier? They said they're auctioning off not auctioning. They're having like a raffle or something for a civilian to go into space. They're going to do a whole bunch of orbits around Earth.
LOL.
Right.
So that was exciting.
I love the Santa Claus reference though today. The Santa Claus reference and proving that was freaking hilarious, bro.
I'll kill them on Santa all day. They don't want none of this Santa Claus shit.
Hey, I got something to say, man, before we change the subject. So I was under the impression, okay, so if we raise if we have a 10-mile curve, okay, on a ball with approximately 4,000 mile radius, and we raise it up, I want to ask George, because I think that the math that they're doing to come up with 1/8 of an inch is how much distance you get if you raise that curve, the line up 20 feet. I don't know how many feet they use to come up. Yeah, go ahead.
The formula they're using, you could just punch in the diameter of Earth and then see what we know what the circumference and the diameter they say is. So if you punch the numbers into the formula and you use the diameter or the half the circumference, you should come up with the other number with using that formula. So that's how you know it would be true, you know. I'm not saying Earth's curving, I'm just saying the formula, or you could try it on a big
what's the formula? What is the formula? 3R, is it 3R? I wish this is where I wish George was here, so I got to look up.
Brandon knows it.
But
Brandon
it looked like, man, I got different. There's a bunch of different like art calculators and everything, and you put in numbers, and I guess I don't know, man. It's kind of confusing. That's where the math gives me a headache when it gets to that point where it starts contradicting itself. To my understanding, you know,
bro,
I ain't understanding the shit right.
If that difference was over a foot, bro, we'd be doing that right now.
Yeah,
I was called in to work for that.
I was really surprised. It's really counterintuitive, but for 10 miles, the chord length versus the arc length is only, it's like exactly what George said, 0.168 inches. But
how far do you gotta go to have it?
One of them, dude, to be honest.
I'll be darned. George was right.
Yep,
that's exactly what I got on the first one, but I didn't believe it.
How far do you got to go to get over?
Well, look at that. You didn't believe him, so you said he was lying.
No, I didn't say he was lying.
How far?
I don't think George ever lies, you know. I just think he ain't always right.
It's just supposed to show your skepticism gets in the way of truth sometimes.
How far do you got to go to get over a foot, let's say, or 2 feet or something? You know, when does it start getting crazy?
Crazy. That's all we need to do. We need to get a distance. We need to get a distance that is 1 foot, and just get some cheap ass long strips of PVC, man, and try, or just we could go a distance. We just need more people. Look, if we're gonna do this, then we can't be intimidated by the size. The size is just gonna mean we need more help, man, and it's gonna cost more money. But it doesn't mean we can't do it. If we keep
do
the
that
weight
shit
down.
with manpower. We could almost do that with manpower. All we got to do is dig, and then you got to get it like a chain or a PVC, whatever material you're using that doesn't stretch long enough. Yeah. That's straight definitive, though. That's no guessing games, and it will definitely work. You know what I'm saying? As long as your material doesn't stretch, that's fucking...
But you have to have it perfectly straight, too, man. Because if you have any bend on that, as light as it is, when you pull on it, that's going to be slack.
Not pulling on nothing.
Yeah, we know that, man.
I know, well, I'm just saying, like, you know, you have to find a way to have everything perfectly straight.
Carlos, it's almost impossible to not get it straight if you're working with like a line or cable or a chain. If you pull it tight, it automatically straightens out, man. It's hard to...
Left to right.
Okay.
Left to
I hate
right
when people
straight.
bring up the left or right like that's going to be a problem. If that's our problem, none of us even need to be talking. Left to right is easy to get straight. We don't even have left to right refraction, bro.
I would, yeah. You could even bring a theodolite. I mean, I wouldn't trust that alone, but you could bring a theodolite or some one of those tools out there and do it. I wouldn't go strictly off of that, but
so this 1/8 of an inch thing, you know, you think about it, it's like you're talking 10 miles, right? Now the Sagittal
Yeah,
is
too
only
close.
2 inches. 2 inches over 10 miles. So you think about it from the center out to one side, like halfway along 5 miles. You're spreading
The
2
Sag
inches
is-
over.
What are you talking about? The
It
Sag is
takes.
2 inches.
Hold on. In the middle, five. I'm talking about on a ball. That I'm talking about the difference between the arc and the chord. You'd go from 2 inches high on this arc to 0 over 30,000, approximately 30,000 inches. 2 inches over 30,000 inches.
Why are you saying the
I gotta
tangent's
get
only
clarity,
2
bro.
inches?
Hold on. I gotta get clarity on this. Okay, so you're telling. I thought the Sagittal was
Listen.
so that's the chord. The chord, right? Just the line between the chord and the arc, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Where'd you get 2 inches from over 10 miles? It should be feet.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking a mile in my head, and I said 2 miles. Yeah, 1 mile. Sorry, 1 mile.
Yeah,
no wonder
yeah.
you were
Yeah. So in other
confused.
words, so you were right, Brandon. You were right. I was wrong about the 23 feet. I thought you said 1/3 of the 66 feet. But yeah, I checked it. So basically, if you're 10 miles and you look to the left and you drop down 5 miles, there's 16 point whatever foot of curve, and then the other direction, 5 miles is 16 point something feet. So yeah, so basically in the middle you'd be 16 foot higher. So yeah, I guess that is fair to divide the fall by 4, and you get the Sagittal.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just jump in and ask a quick question here. How anyone got any idea how far we think we can, if we lay this cord out, whatever it's made of, to actually get it to lift off the ground? Like we're saying 10 miles. Can we actually pull it tight at 10 miles to get it off the ground? I don't think we probably can.
Your
No,
mic.
we were talking about a different test. We were talking about a different test there.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Yeah, this was
Well,
something
there you
else. This White's World one. This White's Word one. You're only trying to lift that up from point A to point B. I don't know what that distance even is.
Let me explain why I'm scared of the other test today.
I'm scared of it too, Brian. I know.
A, I could be wrong. But B, just at least consider this. And if I am right, we can find an easily way around this. But give me 1 second. I'm gonna come back and run my idea of how we could get a false globe reading on this test, on White's test. But
You
maybe
can't.
not. Give me just a minute.
The only way you get a false globe reading is if there's more weight on the scales than the whole line even weighs. That's the only way I don't know.
Well, the reason I was talking about this 1/8 of an inch is because it just kind of, I was talking to George last night, it kind of puts in perspective the tiny amount that we're trying to measure over these distances.
Yeah.
For 1 mile, you're 2 inches over, from 0 to 2 inches over 30,000 inches. It's insane.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to go a lot longer than 1 mile in order to.
Yeah, but in 3 miles, you got almost 2 feet, Sagittal, man. And 3 miles, yeah, it's far, man. But I mean, it starts progressing exponentially, man. Like you were saying, or like Jeremy was saying, it progresses exponentially. That's why I said we can't be intimidated by these long distances, because that's where it's going to become apparent, man.
How far do we got to go for Brian's thing he said last night for us to get more than 1/8 of an inch or something real, like feet, multiple feet?
Aha! I think I figured it out. Let me know if you still hear the doubling now. I got that shit. Tell me what it is. Tell me if it sounds
You know
good.
what I'm saying? Because that as long as your material doesn't stretch, that one's rock solid. I feel like it's crazy to try to dig a 20-mile cord, but I mean, whatever.
Dude, I was driving around today, just going to the post office or whatever, and I'm watching my odometer, and I'm thinking, okay, now let's see how long a mile really is, just to get a feel for it. It's a long way, man. It's you know,
I'm telling you.
You don't think about it when you're driving in a car, but it's a long fucking way.
You know, That's what I was telling Travis. Shout out to the Plain Truth, man. Shout out to the Plain Truth. But when we had lunch yesterday, we was on the water, and I was like, look at that crane, you know. It's, you know, in reality, I was like, how far you think it? He said, yeah, he said about a half mile is across the river. And I agreed, you know, it's about a half a mile. It's a long way. So, you know, you're talking, just to get 3 miles, you're talking about 6 times that distance. And, but it doesn't mean it's impossible, guys. It is a long way. And, you get a quick wake-up call when you're trying to transfer these tests from paper to reality, but that doesn't mean they're impossible, guys.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying, too. This is not impossible. And I think it's certainly worth trying. You know, just to think about what we're trying to do. We're trying to come up with the first ever physical measurement of the actual shape of the surface of the Earth. I'm not aware that it's been done because we've all looked for it. We've all been asking for it. And all we get is optical, light-based, you know, all that crap that we get, right? So it would be quite the accomplishment. And hell, maybe we'll end up proving that it's impossible. You know, I don't know. I think it's worth a shot. Now, I did talk to George, because George actually called me. And he was like, you know, listen, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I just don't think it's possible. But he said he also agreed that it was worth trying. I mean, he has been thinking about it. I know George has been thinking about it. I know he's negative sometimes, but he is encouraging us to go out and do it. So
yeah, he is, and they're joining. And let me say this there. So let's picture 10 miles of rope laying on, or anything, a string or a rope laid on the ground, and let's picture a little bulge in the middle where the scale is. Okay, so now we start pulling from the ends. Okay, just forget the ends. Just think in your head that somebody's pulling on them, but stay focused in the middle. Okay, stay focused in the middle where the scale is. Before them edges come up, they got to pull tight against each other, and if they're above the scale in that area, then they might pull a little bit of weight down on the scale. If they're pulling exactly away from each other, and each end is under the scale, then at first the scale's going to drop. I mean, at first the center line's going to want to go down before it comes up. That's just the way shit works. And if you need an example, okay, like if we do the test with the string line over say 3 miles, okay, and let's say we got a string line sitting on top of the water, okay, and my idea was to pull it down in the middle. Like a foot, let's just say a foot, and then stretch it and see whether it goes up or down. Well, you can't. That wouldn't be fair to the globe. And this is just me being honest, because at first, on either model, it's going to go up for a second. In other words, if just the middle is sunk in, okay, of that 4 miles, and you pull tight on a globe or a flat Earth, it's going to pull up for a second. But if the Earth is flat, it would pull up till it caught up with itself and then start going down. So that's why I said we might get I love the idea White has. I just think we need to think of a way around this one problem. It should be very easy to get around, if I'm not mistaken already. But the way I see the drawing with the scale above the two, you know, the scale sticking up a little bit, I think that might give I'm just worried it's going to give a false globe positive. You know, that's, what do you think?
You're dead wrong on some biggie shit. The only way you're going to get a globe result is if there's more weight on the scales and the line it weighs in total. The only way that's going to happen is on a globe. Because of where the scales and the ends of the rope is positioned at.
Yeah. Well, I say it's got to tighten up. It's got to tighten up completely before the middle comes up. I mean, it's got to tighten up as much as it's gonna. Let's say that before the middle comes up. So that means it's going to have to stretch out. So the two pieces of let's call it rope that are right beside each side of the scale are lower than the scale, just a little bit lower. So when they pull tight against each other, then you're basically just pulling a mini cord.
No, on flat Earth,
for a second anyway.
On flat Earth, the ends of the ropes are all higher than all the scales.
Well, if we don't fix that problem in my eyes, I think Rump was just trying to point it out, but he was doing it in wrong, I believe. I believe he was describing it wrong. But I think this is what he was talking about, if I'm not mistaken. And I ain't trying to be. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to point out potentials here. My prediction is, if we do that, we're going to get a false globe positive, unless we lower the scale where it's damn near perfectly level. I don't know. Let me think of a way around it. There's got to be an easy way around it, man.
The only way it reads globe is if, I'm telling you, if there's more weight on the scales than the fucking line even weighs. Because it'll all be pulling down. That's not going to happen on
So you don't think as that line tightens up, you don't think it's going to work its way down to the middle as it gets tighter?
I was worried about the middle part and maybe even the points after that, but do you understand that you won't get on the flat Earth with this setup? You will not. It's impossible to get more weight on the scales than the rope weighs total. Like you know this, right? That can't happen on a flat Earth because it's being pulled off.
Well, think about this, Jeremy. Okay, let's say the ends are off the ground and we're pulling each end. Okay, let's say the first mile on either side of the scale. The first mile one way and the first mile the other way. So they're underneath the scale, right? What way are they pulling? What direction are they pulling? Let's just say that the tension hasn't even made it to the middle yet. We're working our way in, so we're working our way. The tension's got within a mile to the middle, right, on each side. Yeah. Okay. Now they're pulling. It doesn't know that it's trying to pull up yet. The middle is not trying to come up yet. Yeah. The ends are trying to come up, but as far as they're pulling directly away from each other. And if the scale's higher, it's gonna, like I said, it's got to catch up for a second too. It's gonna just. And I'm just trying to. I don't know. Let me rethink it all.
So you think even on this bottom one here? Oh, I'm not sharing. Let me share my screen here. You think even on this bottom one, if you when you pull it tight, it's gonna push down in the center, just because you'll be dragging this all up.
Yeah, just until it gets high enough, until it gets to the scale. Once it gets up to the scale, or there's even a small angle above the scale, but for a split second, yeah, it's got to work its way down. It has to. It's got to work its way to the middle. I don't think there's a way around it. But like I said, I'm trying to rethink this. But you see, if they're pulling it directly away from each other, then there'll be a mini chord in between that line where the scale's at. It's going to be trying to pull down to the ground to get tight, to go up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and that's one thing about these sketches. He did a good job on these sketches because it gets across the idea, but it gives you a false sense for the angles involved here. Because,
right, and that's what I was saying about my fishing line test. All right, I'm sorry, Brandon.
No, I was just going to say, it shows them bent. It practically, these lines are they're not bent at all, hardly at all. That's such a slight angle.
Too. But that's why I was saying on my fishing line test, it ain't just as easy as pulling the middle down and pulling it, because that'll give a false flat Earth reading. Because like I said, if you run a string line 3 miles on top of the water, it's floating. Let's say it's floating. There's no sag, and you pull the middle down a foot, or let's just say 3 feet for the hell of it. When you first go to pull it tight, it's gonna come up at first, no matter what. Okay, no matter on a globe or a flat Earth, until the line tightens, until the tension catches up with the center. So that's why I said we need some people to transition it along the way to make it a fair test. And I'm just trying to be fair. I could go out there and easily just pull it and show how it tightens up and pulls up. But yeah, on a globe, it's going to pull up for a second anyway, and then pull down. In other words, it'll come up. The tension will catch up. But it's got to catch up. The tension's got to work its way all the way to the middle before it can go down. Therefore, it's got to come up for a split second. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, Brian, no way. I do not agree with that. I don't see any way on this setup how on a globe Earth that line would ever come off the ground in the middle. I can't picture it. Unless you had like a...
Think about this then. Think about measuring the 10-mile test we just did with the length. Okay, instead of PVC pipe, we're going to use line. Okay, we spread out line over 10 miles. Yeah.
Hold on, Brian. You see where the straight line is? The chord going from end of the line to end of the line. You see that straight line? That's going to be. You see how all the measuring points are above that line?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're pulling that straight out, it's never going to want to go up above any of those points, right?
Yeah.
On a globe.
Yeah, but there's a split second. There's a split second that's going to be pulling away from each other, making a little chord right over the scale.
No.
Just for a split second, man. Well, maybe I might be wrong, man. I hope I am, because that's going to make my 3-mile fishing line test simple. But in my opinion, I can't just sink the middle of the fishing line, or no matter what you're on, it's going to tighten up upwards for a second till the tension catches up. Then it'll work its way down on a globe. But let me describe it like this. So let's say we got a 10-mile line over the our test with the distance. Okay, and so if we just pull the middle, if we go 5 miles and pull the middle over the 17 feet or 16 feet, whatever it is, okay, that's going to shrink the line, right? More than 1/8 of an inch. But if you start off at that angle, then you're only going to wind up with 1/8 of an inch. You see, let me think of a good way to describe this. In other words, you're going to have tension until it catches up to the middle. If you pulled that line tight, if you pulled it, man, let me think of a better way of explaining this.
All right.
Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong.
All right, yeah, think about it for a minute. Hey, Brian, whatever you did with your mic yesterday when it sounded good, is there any way you could try that again? I don't know what you did, but just thought maybe you could do that. But anyway.
Is that better?
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's just hard we got some people who are real sensitive with the audio and it bothers them, but okay, so this right here, I think we need another sketch of this that actually shows the correct angles that we're working with here. That is the big part of these sketches from White's that differs from reality.
He exaggerated the curve a little just so you could see. Yeah.
I just thought of something, man. It's something.
Still the same.
And I hope nobody's getting mad at me for just throwing out, different viewpoint. But you know what? Even if it does measure a downward force for a split second, if we keep pulling it, then it can't keep doing that. So yeah, even if it does do that, it'd only be for a split second. So we keep tightening it up. Yeah, it would have to come off the scale. It'd have to. Besides that initial touch where it jolts down just for a split second as it's tightening up to the middle, then it has no choice but to just lighten the weight on the scale. So I see what you're saying, Jeremy.
I mean, Brandon, you can redraw it, but it's going to be the same thing. Those lines are always going to be underneath all the points. The chord's always going to be underneath all the points on the globe one, and it's always going to be above all the points on the flat Earth one.
No, I get you. Yeah, I understand why he distorted the scale, obviously, and exaggerated the curve, because how else are you going to get the point across on a little sheet of paper? Yeah. But I would like to, that picture that Rumpus showed us yesterday, he said, this is what a straight line looks like, and this is a straight line over, this is the curvature of the Earth. And it's like, not different at all. And you're looking at that like, are those the same line? That's kind of what this would be like. So this diagram, although it describes well, what's involved here, it gives you a false sense of the difference. A false sense of the ratio of the rise versus the distance.
Yeah. It's still gonna be the same kind of thing, though. I mean,
well, actually, I think if I drew this and tried to make the ratios the same, I'd just have two overlapping lines on the piece of paper, pretty much.
It'd be close. Yeah.
It'd be real close.
Five. What's it? 5 miles. If that's 10 kilometers, it's like 5 miles or something. That's like that's not even 1/8 of an inch when you stretch the chord. When you do the chord to the top of the surface on the globe.
I'm still having a hard time digesting that one, man. Just doesn't make sense in my mind,
Brian.
man.
I don't like it either, Brian. I hear you.
Listen, man, how can it be 16 foot one way and only 1/8 of an inch the other way? I mean, it just, I don't know. Yeah, it's, I know the math don't lie, but but I'm just trying to get a distance where it's feasible, you know, because it shouldn't be too much further if it's that exponential, where it drops off where 8,000 diameter or 4,000 radius equates to 12,000, you know, 12,000 miles around the globe, and it's got to hit a point where it starts getting obvious. And even if it is 15 miles, we just got to get something that doesn't stretch. Okay, if we pull it as tight as we can and it doesn't stretch, then it just needs to be a distance where it'd be obvious, like a few feet, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Do the math, see how long the cord needs to be. And, you know, maybe that's doable. I don't know.
I don't think that one is going to be feasible. No. I mean, 10 miles is a long way, and you're only talking 1/8 of an inch.
Bro, I'll get a mile done before lunch.
Dude. I don't know about
It'd be difficult, man, but not with a lot of people. It'd be easy. I mean, look what they build, man. We're talking about some light material that, you know, basically PVC is shit. You know, each person could lift a mile of it damn near by themselves, or half a mile. But not that we're going to be lifting it, but it takes some time. But if we're serious about this, man, we could put the. I'm gonna try and at least put the logistics together, but it's just got to be a big enough distance, man, and it doesn't matter how far it is. The scale, you know, we just got to scale it, basically.
Leaky, run the numbers and see how long we need to come up with like a foot or 2 feet or something, because it's exponential. So it's gonna, you know, 20 miles is gonna be more than 1/4 of an inch. That still doesn't sound great. I don't know how much it goes up by, but.
If it's a quarter, if it's a 1/4 inch over 20 miles, then they're full of shit, and it's never was a globe, if you ask me.
Yeah, I guess that's what Rumpus means by the Earth is incredibly flat. It's like,
I was gonna say.
I want to do this. I want to to everybody who figured out and come up with 1/8 of an inch, and that's to be honest, that's the first calculation the first calculator I went to. That's what it said, you know. But they were different, man. I guess it was different arcs, you know. But let's say this: I want them to tell me if I raise up off the ground, if I have a 10 mile on the dot line, okay, and I raise it off the ground, okay. 16 feet. Okay, how much will it extend? I think that's where you get the 1/8 of an inch. I think if you raise it up 16 feet off the ground, I think 10 miles, I think you get an 1/8 of an inch difference.
It's going to be the same thing no matter how high or low you make it, though.
yeah, I mean, that is what they're saying.
No, the plumb lines have to deviate, bro. The plumb lines necessarily, on a globe, the plumb lines have to deviate the higher you go. And it's not much over, you know, but it's not much over a mile. But if you go 10 miles, then it's measurable. But, you know, I think it ain't much over 16 feet. I think you'll only get about 1/8 of an inch. I think that's what we're accidentally measuring. I think that's the equation we're using, in my opinion. We're raising the chord and getting the distance between the two differentials. And maybe I'm wrong, probably, but it's possible. But I still want the answer to that. If George hears this, or Rumpus, or Brandon, if you could later on check the math, tell me what's the differential between 10 miles on a globe, 16 feet high, 16 foot higher.
No, I did check it. That's what I checked. That's exactly what I checked. And to my surprise, it did come out to me 0.168. So we've got
no. I'm not talking about the chord. I'm talking about the differential between plumb.
Oh, the differential between plumb from both ends.
Like if you were to mark this with a plumb line, I hear what Brian's saying. The lower you go with it, the more of a deviation you should have, technically, or higher, or whatever.
Yeah, because 69 miles should be about 3,001 or 3,100 something feet difference between a chord and an arc. You know, so it's if 69 miles is 3,100 and something for a Sagittarius. I mean, how can 10 miles only be a fucking 1/8 of an inch, man? It doesn't. I don't know, man. I'm still just having trouble with it.
I think it's pretty solid though, because it's just based on geometry. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that is the right answer.
You having a problem with chord lengths?
I'm just in denial,
No,
bro.
not a problem. It's just so counterintuitive, the 1/8 of an inch over 10 miles that, you know, even George said it was really surprised him because it is very counterintuitive. And Brian was questioning if the calculation is right, but we've got like 4 people who have done the calculation that are saying it.
As Travis asked me to give it to him last night, and I forgot. But yeah, it's 4 point. Was it? What did I calculate? It's been 4.7 millimeters, I think, which is I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I came up with 0.168.
That's
which
not
is
an
what
eighth.
George
That's
came
not
up
the
with.
same as an 1/8 of an inch, though. You see what I'm saying? That is not the same as an 1/8 of an inch.
What's my? Let me get my result here.
Yeah, that's higher than
4.27 millimeters, and George agreed with that as well.
I mean, if you think about it this way, I see what Brian's saying. If you made plumb lines going all the way down to the center of Earth, saying we live on a globe, and you take the straight level line of water over the surface, and then you straighten it out, but you went down with it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's how you calculated it. That's what the calculation does.
Yeah, we're turning like 1/8 of a degree in 10 miles, or 1/7 of a degree. I mean, that's pretty significant. If the globe is that damn big, that's why. But I'm probably just in denial, man.
Well, I'm telling you guys, I really do think that calculation is right because I stepped through it step by step last night. And
okay, well, Rumpus, can you give me the answer of how much the plumb line extends 16 foot higher on a globe and over 10 miles?
Brandon, remember when we were trying to measure the plumb line?
Yeah, I've got that too. I've got a spreadsheet that does that calculation, and that's a tiny amount too.
It's not going to be much different. I mean, all you've done is effectively change the radius of your arc by an extra 10 feet. It's going to make almost no difference.
But on
flat 16 feet, Rumpus, 16 feet. Could you do the calculation anyway?
Okay, it wouldn't matter if it was 200 feet. It wouldn't matter if it's 1,000 feet.
You ain't gonna be able to dig down far.
I mean, I can do it for you. Okay, I'll do it for you. I'll do the calculation for you.
The measure and the
I've got a spreadsheet right here. We can plug in whatever we want. Hold on just a second.
16 feet, and or let's do the benefit. Let's go because it's 16.8 or so. Let's go 17 feet. We'll give Flat Earth the benefit this time.
Let me just check what you're doing. You're just simply raising up the rope, or you're considering an arc 16 feet above the ground level instead of ground level, and you want the chord. You want the same, not the same chord, but you want the chord for that raised up thing. Is that right, or do you want the chord for the original chord? Can I show you? Let me just show you a diagram. Make sure I know exactly what you're asking for.
We ain't gonna be able to make a chord much deeper than the surface level, though. That's already a tremendous feat.
Right. So, can you see my screen?
Not yet, but here, let me say this. So, what you're seeing on screen right now is the calculation that I did for the deviation of plumb bobs. We can double check this, but
we're talking about plumb bobs now.
Well, I think that's what Brian was talking about. He was talking about verticals, right?
I'm confused now. What's Brian asking for? Is he talking about plumb bobs, or is he talking about this arc length versus the chord length?
Well, now I'm confused. Maybe I'm the one who's confused.
Brian, what
Listen,
is it
if we marked it, hold on, let me explain. If we mark this line with plumb lines, like say we got our 10 miles of PVC laying across the ground, and then we drop a plumb line on either end. Right? Now on a globe, on flat Earth, those plumb lines are going to be parallel, and they're all going to be the same distance. But on a globe, they're going to be converging to a point.
Yeah.
So as you drop, if you made your chord really low, it would be even more of a difference than on a flat Earth to a globe Earth.
Right, but if we're talking about the surface of the Earth, the chord length versus the arc length is only different by 4 millimeters.
Yeah, but look here. So if there's there's 25 millimeters in 1 inch. Okay, and now if it's 1/8 of an inch, because it's
well, I think it's
hold on, let me finish. If it's 1.6, if that equation math is supposed to be exact now. If it says 1.68 of an inch, then that would be about close to 1/7 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch.
No, it's proportional to the rate. You've got to. If, for instance, if you made the why is there an echo here? Jesus Christ!
Hold on,
yeah, okay. Let me mute.
If you made the Earth twice as big, it would only make the thing twice as big. It would only make it let me just put in the numbers for if you made the Earth twice as big as it is. Let me just put my bloody formula in. Hold on, let me make absolutely sure what I'm about to say is correct.
All right, well, just while you're doing that for a second, let me just say this before I forget, because there's a couple people who have asked about the difference between plumb lines at the top of the bottom. Say you have two plumb lines 500 feet apart. This is at sea level, obviously. And they're 300 feet tall. The difference between the distance between the tops and the bottoms of those plumb lines is very small. It's 0.04 inches, one millimeter.
For a 300 foot plumb line?
500 feet apart, 300 feet tall.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
1 millimeter?
1 millimeter.
Damn, bro.
Somebody else can calculate it, see if they come up with the same answer. But
so let's say this. So every 10 miles. Okay. So to get 1 degree on a globe, we'd have to do 10 miles. We'd have to do it 6 times. Let's just say 6 times. Okay. So we got 6 chords that make 1 degree. 6 chords make 1 degree of Earth curve. 6 10-mile chords make 1 degree of Earth curve, which is about 3,100 feet. Okay. Each, and then you look at this. So then you say, okay, and there's 360 degrees. Let's just go half the globe because that's the way the diameters measure. So half the globe would be 12,000 miles in circumference. Okay, so for each degree we got 6 chords, and times 180. 6 times 180 is about what, 1,048. So we'd have 1,048 chords. Working our way around to get halfway around the globe to get from 8,000 diameter to 12,000 miles circumference for that half, for half of it. And so we'd only have 1/8 of an inch. We got to, if you do the math where you break it down into separate chords, of course I'd have to break it down more than that, but you get different results, man. I'm going to find a better way to explain that, but Jaron and them explained it on one of the shows. One of the guests they had explained how when you get different Earth curvature rates when you do chords.
I think you might be thinking about the drop, the difference, because I do remember them having a conversation about the different ways to look at the drop. Like if you looked out horizontally, how much curvature there would be versus looking out across the horizon, calculating it from where your sight would touch the horizon, how much drop there would be. And yeah, I agree. That's a huge difference, but I think this calculation is pretty solid. This just strictly has to do with geometry. It's not based on any other assumptions than the shape of what we're talking about, either a circle or a flat surface.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to figure out how far to go,
right,
to get something of significance. Can
I give you some important information? Right, if you made the Earth twice as big, then in fact the difference would be halved. The bigger you make the Earth, the flatter you make it. So the more you raise it up, the less the difference between the arc and the chord.
Okay, if we went 1 degree, what would the sagitta be then, Rumpus? That should be easy.
Sorry, what sorry, the one.
If we went 60 miles.
60 miles. Okay, I'll find that out. I can stick it in my little calculation here. So
just call it 1 degree for simplicity's sake. Call it 1 degree. What would the sagitta be over 1/180th? It's pointless to go the whole way around, right? That's why I just say 180 degrees to go halfway around, because then it starts looping back in on itself. So it's pointless to figure out the whole ball.
That would be 1.3 meters.
so you'd have okay, so 1 degree. So if you have 180 1 degree Sagittarius on Earth, then you would have. You see where I'm getting at, y'all guys? The equation can't be right. In other words, if you have 180 Sagittarius, each one stretch 60 miles. Okay, then you'd only have 1.3 feet for each Sagittarius. Come on, man. You see what I'm saying? There's a discrepancy here, man.
No, it's just that it's not a linear function. You can't
but
add
it would
them.
have to. Half the Earth is the diameter of the Earth is 8,000 miles, and the circumference is 24,000. So you're looking at 12,000 miles to 8,000.
Yeah, it's not. But what Rumpus is saying is it doesn't break down like that linear. You can't take the amount of curve for the whole and just divide it by, like, say 100 and get the right amount for that section of Earth.
You can as a whole, bro. You can as a whole. Okay, if you do it as a whole, that's why I went all the way up to 1 degree. Okay.
Okay.
No, but Brian, imagine if you went halfway around the world, then the arc length would be one half of the circle, and then the chord
Right, that's what
would be
I'm saying.
the diameter.
12,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna the relationship you're echoing, Brian. The relationship between the error between the two is going to change with distance. It's not going to be linear.
Bro, if you think that the Sagitta on a globe with a radius of 4,000 miles would be 1 meter on 1 degree of curvature, you're wrong, bro. That equation's wrong. I don't care what the geometry says.
You didn't ask me for the Sagitta. You asked me what I think we're calculating, as I understood it, the difference between the chord length and the arc length. If you ask me about the Sagitta, that's something different. If you ask me about the bulge, this is why I was trying to get you to look at my diagram. What you wanted. There's always a confusion here. This is why I try and pin it down.
Okay. Well, what is the Sagitta?
Right, the Sagitta. Okay, let's go and look at that then.
Hold on. It has to. The chord length to the arc length has to add up over half the Earth to 4,000 miles.
I don't quite. Let me concentrate on one thing at a time.
There's no getting around it.
Circle half. If you make a circle halfway around the Earth.
Yeah. So an arc halfway around the Earth.
We can break it into segments, bro, and it's got to add up to 4,000 miles. No matter how you break it into segments, if you break it equally, it's got to equal to 4,000 miles, period.
No, because the arcs are at different angles. The arc, for instance, at the equator. So let's say you're doing a half Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole. At the equator, it's pointing at 90 degrees. Right next to you, it's pointing horizontally. The different arcs are making different contributions to the Sagitta.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we are using a half globe, okay? And we're breaking it down into equal segments.
Yes, but they each contribute differently. They're different angles.
Okay. So what if we cut it in half, Rumpus? If we cut the 8,000 and we just cut it dead in half and had two chords, okay?
Right, so if you cut
they would have to add up, bro. You'd have, distance-wise, I don't care what the formula says.
Can you see my diagrams, Brian? This one here. Can you see this diagram? This pink with my pink circle.
Hold on. I see Brandon's. Hold on.
Well, yeah, just select mine. So let's to make sure we absolutely know what you're talking about. Just edit here so I can.
I think the sound is good out there. Let me know if it's not now. I think we figured out what the issue was. If anything's too loud or way too low, let me know. I don't want to blow anybody's
These guys say
eardrums
they're
out.
measuring Earth curve, and now either way, one way, I'll call bullshit one way or another. If that's all we get, and you say they're measuring that, bullshit. Okay, or B, that equation is misguided.
Nope, you're the misguided one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I might be. I admit that. I'm probably wrong, but I think there's a discrepancy somewhere in here.
Well, let's make sure we all know.
Well, I would agree with you
man.
on that, Brian. To say that you're measuring like deviating plumb bobs over a mile or 10 miles is ludicrous if you're doing it optically, in my opinion.
Right, so let's make sure we all know what you're talking about, Brian. So let's imagine. Right, so I've drawn this blue. Let's make that brighter color. Right, so let's imagine you are here and you are drawing to. Exactly. That was exactly a half. I think.
First, would you agree that the plumb bobs would deviate about 3,100 feet over 1 degree, over 69 miles, right?
Over 69 miles by 1 degree. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we're calling it 60. We're calling it 60 for simplicity's sake.
Right, 60. It is 60 nautical miles, but it's 69 normal.
Yeah, whatever. Nautical miles. Just I mean, like I said, if there's some contingency, we can refine the math. But just for simplicity's sake, we'll just base everything on 60 miles being 1 degree.
Well, why not? Why not put the right number in? I can do that with my calculator.
All right, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Right,
but it's just
let's
harder
make
to
sure we know
imagine.
let's just imagine to make sure we know what you're talking about, Brian. So here, I've got a point A.
Brian, you're gonna have to go on mute when you're not talking because you're echoing for some reason.
Sorry.
Yeah. Right. So just, come back when you finish. So we've got a point A here. Let's get rid of this B. All right, let's make that B. Actually, okay. Let's make that B. So we've got a point B here. Let's get rid of this bloody thing. Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Okay.
Right. So we've got a point. Let's make this bit right. Let's put the B here and the A there. Right. So Brian, what you want to know, I think, is how far the sagittar is this distance here. Is that correct? That's what you're worried about, is it? This distance from here to here. Actually, I should do that. Actually.
Hold on, man. I got interrupted. Distance. Yeah, exactly. For the time being, yeah. Trying to figure that out.
Right. And do you understand that if you did this in little sections, that they're pointing in different directions, so you can't just add up it's the angle of each little section that's going to determine this. You can't just take the drop.
I do understand that, Rumpus. I understand that. I know it's going to be lower, but
you didn't understand my point. So it's just you didn't. But okay, if you understand it now, then great. You seem to think you could add up these little bits you were talking about, and you're saying it should add up to the... No, because each little angle, each little section is pointing in a different direction. So
okay, now cut it into like 20. Do Sagittarius, do like 8 Sagittarius, or break it down into 8. You got it into 2 right there. Do it into 8.
Okay. So you want me to draw? I don't know. God, let's make this. Let's get rid of these bits. So you want me to basically? Let's just see how.
I know what you're thinking, but think about the shape you're making by connecting those chords on those 8 different those 8 different radiuses right there. It almost matches the outside of this ball here, whereas the direct line goes right through from one side to the other. That's where your difference is coming up. These are not additive. You can't add them up like that.
So I'm not right. So Brian, is that?
I know.
So Brian, is that? So I've done what you asked. I think I've given you. So in the individual sections between these things then give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 arcs. So sorry, but I haven't got the number exactly. But I've got 11 arcs.
I've heard arguments that like something don't line up now on globes or whatnot. The flat Earth doesn't match up because if you go this angle. So in the United States, basically, that's an invalid argument, right? In other words, the difference is 69 miles.
I didn't understand your argument.
Okay, the distance is 69 miles. You're saying it's only a meter, only a few feet. Okay, so we'd never know.
Hold on, Brian. That wasn't the sagittar. Brian, that wasn't the sagittar. If you remember, that was the difference between the arc length and the chord length.
Right, exactly. So if we were trying to differentiate between the globe and a flat Earth, distance we'd never be able to do it by distance over one continent alone.
I get what you're getting at, because we're told that back in the days of geodesy, the start of geodesy, they were out there with chains and going link by link and measuring these distances, and somehow that was that would be a measurement of the difference between a chord and an arc, right? In theory, that's what they would be doing.
No.
Why not?
Well, they measure distance by those geodeters. I'm not quite sure how they did distances actually. Did they actually do it just by laying things down on the ground?
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but that's what I understand.
I think they did it by triangulation actually. So I don't think they laid chains down.
Well, for 10 degrees of latitude, it's only 3 feet different.
At some point, they did lay chains down on the ground, and
yes, they have to get some base to get going. Yes.
Yeah.
So they have to get one base for the triangulation to work, and then from that point onwards, you can then you start using angles from that point onwards.
Well, think about the futility of that, Rumpus, based on all of our discussions over the last few days, and the slight difference between a chord and a arc on the face of the Earth, especially for those short distances. That's impossible, in my opinion. I just don't see how they. how you could say they could do that
what
with
point
any...
you're trying to make. They had to use distances, yes, and because they would do it, they weren't doing it over continental-sized distances. They were only doing it over a few, perhaps 100 miles. I don't think it probably 10 miles is probably the sort of base of a triangulation thing. Over that distance, that we've done it. It's only 4.2 millimeters out, so they might make a chain of 10 miles as their base of a triangulation point. It's only different from the straight line chord by those 4.2 millimeters. So
how would you know with the
No, you just said millimeters.
Yeah, 4.2 millimeters.
How would you know with
You think they would run a 10-mile chain to measure a 4 millimeter difference? Fuck
no, they didn't. They never did that. I don't know why
No,
you think
they didn't do that. They did it
difference.
with smaller, shorter chains. I'll look it up. I'll see if I can get some more details in the background. But
no one has used, as far as I'm aware, the difference between the chord and an arc as somehow some proof of the Earth being curved.
Isn't that what that's based on? Measuring that difference? That's what the triangulation is based on. Your straight line, not straight line. Your curving straight line.
Yeah, but if you make it short, the error is so small. As we've established, if you had a 10-mile baseline, you've only got an error between the chord and the sphere by 4.2 millimeters.
That's my point. How could we ever rely on any measurement of that?
But they didn't measure that. They never used that as a measurement, a proof of the shape of the Earth. That's never been used as a proof of the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, it is. They're using oversized triangles.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're measuring the interior angles above 180.
Right,
Rumpus,
what you're talking
right?
about, what you're talking about, something the Bob Science guy uses, where he says if we go from something like Los Angeles to New York to Vancouver, you end up with a very large triangle, and you get what is called is an excess angle. Because you're creating this, but you have to go over hundreds and hundreds of miles to get this excess angle to be able to measure it.
My point is, I would challenge that that's never been measured.
Well, actually, in saying that, I think Jesse, has mentioned that they get this excess angle on that, but they do it over something like, I think you have to have a base of about 50 miles or something, actually, so to get a measurable angle with it, modern technology, to get a change in the angles of your triangle. So in other words, because we're saying that on a sphere, a triangle is going to sum the internal angles is going to be greater than 180 degrees.
That's
so
ridiculous.
I can't remember how far you have to go out to be able to get those sorts of to be able to get a detectable addition. I could go and
you got to go 700 miles to get I think it's either a degree or a tenth of a degree.
Oh yeah,
hundreds of miles.
Yeah, if you wanted a degree, you'd have to go. Yeah, if you wanted a degree, you'd have to get 100 miles.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount.
But
I've got a super chat.
That's a different issue to the one you're talking about, which is the difference of length. Brian, you're echoing again. That's not the same thing as measuring the difference between an arc and a chord. We're talking about angles now.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't mean to derail into that. It just occurred to me. But Godzilla 37, $5. The sound is terrible. I keep hearing rumpus. Very funny, Godzilla.
Shouts out to Godzilla.
So,
hey, mute me. My button ain't working, bro. Mute me, please.
Okay.
You got it, Brandon?
Yeah.
Right. So,
I don't know if Brian got his question answered or not, but
Yeah, because Brian seemed to be switching. Initially, we were talking about the difference between the chord. The chord. Let's just remind ourselves what that is. The chord length. So from this point here to there. So if I put in point C, there, and the arc length is the green way of getting from A to C, and the chord length is the blue one. And the difference between that, if it's only if that is 10 miles. So we were talking about, as we've been discussing, if that arc length there is only 10 miles, then the difference is only 4.27 millimeters.
Right, very tiny, very tiny.
It's actually a sixth of an inch. I don't quite understand where you're getting this eighth of an inch from. 4.27 millimeters, which is what George has also agreed with me on this, is 1/6 of an inch. So I don't quite understand where you're getting your
I got 1.168. There's like 3 people who have gotten that.
Yeah,
Rumpus, I'm looking at your diagram. Rumpus,
yeah,
I'm looking at your diagram.
Not an eighth of an inch. That's a sixth of an inch.
0.16. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why we keep saying an eighth of an inch. Actually, I think he said 3/16, and I just turned it into an eighth in my head. Let me say this. We got a, you're right though, a Streamlabs from Math. Brandon, the length of the straight line of A to B varies by how much according to the calculations? Thank you. From A to B. So A to B on this chart versus what? I'm not sure what you want me to compare it to, but yeah, that would be on this imaginary ball model. If that was, what's the diameter again? I can't even remember. 7,900 and something.
In kilometers, it's 6,371. But perhaps you're working in miles.
That's the diameter?
No, radius. Sorry.
Radius.
Sorry.
All right, we'll just call it
637.
Say it again.
6,371 kilometers in radius.
Yeah, so 6,371 times 2, so 12,750, something like that. Versus the outside would have to be half of the entire 20,000 kilometers. 20,000 kilometers versus like 12 and a half.
If you want to share my screen, Brand, I've actually got the formula for working out the difference here. I've got the actual difference between chord length and difference between chord length.
Yeah, no,
and,
you've been on screen the whole time. You've been shared, so people got it. I don't think.
Don't share his screen.
And R.
Don't share his screen. He doesn't even have a point G up there. Fuck.
Right. So that's the formula there. And for the case where, and it's 4.27 meters, and so you can, if you want to, you can play with that formula and work out what that would be on an Earth that's twice the radius, or you could add, doing what Brian wanted to do, which is add S. Sorry, R. You could add, if you wanted to, 5 meters or 10 meters to R, and then you get a new value. You find that as you increase R, because you can imagine if you make R bigger, it effectively becomes flatter. So the bigger R you make it, so what Brian is talking about is raising it up actually makes the difference smaller. You get a bigger difference with a tiny, football. If you wanted to, if you had a sphere that was only 10 miles in radius, then you would get a very big difference between a 10-mile arc and a 10-mile chord, and the chord that goes between the two.
Yeah, no, I got you. Appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna change gears here a little bit. I caught a conversation last night. I think it was Stacy B. Saying that you did some kind of tour recently? Are you there, Stacy? Are you available to talk?
Hey, sweetheart. No, we actually were trying. Me and Spin P was part of the Go By Your tour, and after that we tried to do a university tour in the UK, and COVID happened, so it got shut down, and we couldn't go inside the schools, so we were going to stand outside of them in the public areas. And we're going to work with a couple of book creators who have put out some books, bring the thought of the community, and hand them out as well to the students, so they have something to take home. But we also want to stand there and try to get to professors to stand there and talk to us and ask them these questions and see if they're willing to admit that there is no evidence for these things. So it was. We had a lot of people involved. Spurs is going to be involved. I mean, there was a list, literally, of people that are going to be in Bournemouth and everywhere. But hopefully that it can pick up sometime soon. But with what's going on right now, with the whole mask wearing and everything else, everything being shut down, it's kind of a difficult situation when you're talking about universities. But do I plan on stopping that? No, it's going to continue. That will happen soon. I just don't know when. But now I'm going to hit the streets more, one-on-one connections with people. I'm going to try to get on buses and other things like that because they can't get off of them and have those one-on-one conversations with others. It's very, very important, this message to not just stay online. And that's been my main thing for over a year and a half. This can become almost an echo chamber for ourselves because, we got the main people listening. And I agree that we get, more people come in. But there's a lot of people that don't go online. And they're not having that continual connection eye to eye, genuine feelings that you understand one another. And if you don't have that, people are not going to listen to you. That message will go right out the window again, and they'll go right back to that TV, right back to their complacent life. So for me, it's about making that connection with somebody and sharing the information. So hopefully they'll take it on board and do some more research. So that's where we're headed next.
Well, that is awesome. So if I heard you correctly, you're specifically going to target professors?
Professors, students outside. Yeah. But right now, since we can't do that, that's going to be putting on hold. But we want to more now reach everybody on the street.
Sure.
Because everybody knows something's wrong. It may not be about the shape of the earth, but I guarantee that I can come up to you and just talk to you about your struggles that I could already get into 1 thing, 2 things, 3. It just keeps happening. And once you make that connection, whether it's medical or whatever it is, people are having poverty, they're hurting for money, politics, it goes on and on. You make that connection, you're laughing and they get you, Then you bring in that shape of the earth. And then they went, wait a minute, and they question it. And some people, believe it or not, will tell you, yeah, I've already questioned that. And you can have that, but here's the thing. If you're having a conversation with one person, other people around you, they're hearing you all the time. So every time I walk out in these streets, and I'm talking to people daily, by the way, they're walking up to me too. I make sure to make a connection. I want them when they leave to make sure they felt like they knew me. And in that too, pass on some kind of information if I can. But honestly, it's also about walking out here and being a good person to every single person that you meet, because then that will carry on to the next and the next and next. And it is about love, right? At the end of the day. And then if you have that love and understanding within people, then we're going to break this cycle and people are going to start listening to one another and the information will flow. And that's where I want to get back to, because these mask-wearing bullshit that's happening right now is keeping everybody from connecting, and that's what they want. And they've done it for so long with frequencies and every single thing else that they've done to us, right? The lies, the 9-to-5 job. You can't even think. You just work. You didn't have time to research at home. A lot of us, out here don't have the privilege to do that. And I need to make sure that we make those connections, bring that love back to people, and start sharing this information. That for me is the key to everything.
Oh, that's really interesting. And I think you hit on something that I've, found that is kind of obvious, I guess, is the huge difference between online and real life. In my life, I don't have too many people that I could honestly talk to, family, friends who I'll walk up to and say, do you think the media is lying to us? Do you think the government's lying to us? Do you think this happened? And I don't know a bunch of conspiracy theorists, just normal people. And I don't have a lot of people who would say, oh, yes, they're definitely telling us the truth. It's the odd person out who buys all the establishment stuff in my life from what I experience. So when we're online, we're my point is, it gives us kind of a false outlook on how things are out there on the street. Really, in reality, we've got people who are here for different reasons. You've got different, who knows what people are doing online, but it gives you the sense that there's half the people who think that everything's as it should be and the government's telling the truth and the media never lies, and half the people that don't. Gives you a false impression.
For being online a lot, in the past, I mean, to be honest, the last 12 years, I've been really, really diving myself into my family. My mom got sick first with medical, went through, antibiotic-resistant infections. And then it was my brother and his heart attacks, his brain cancer, him passing away. For the last 12 years, it's been just me diving myself into truth without even having a choice. Because it's my life, it's my family. So for me, I've been traveling a lot. But this past 8 months, I've had to even do more. And I had to take a bus back from Texas to Indiana at one point for 3.5 days. And seeing society now, after COVID, after all these things have happened, I cannot tell you how crazy it is. I thought we could talk about it all day online. Until you walk out here and you experience it, it's a whole new adventure. I mean, people have lost the plot. I'm going to get really serious here. Lost the plot. We're all damaged, and I've seen it. At the same time, they're looking for an answer. And believe it or not, a lot of people are awake. That first bus to Dallas, from El Paso to Dallas is 17 hours, was horrible, right? The people were all drug addicts, wanting everybody to do something wrong. It was not a good environment. But after that, I dove myself into helping others that entire bus, making sure they were still on that bus the entire time, because they'll leave you, and making sure we talked about truth. And I couldn't believe how many people on these buses were awake. And that's the point. We're sitting here acting like these people don't want the message, or they don't already have the message in some sort in their heart, their soul, they feel it, they know it, right? We're guessing that they don't. Until you get out here and you start talking to people in society, and I mean talking, you're not going to understand. And I've talked to so many people, and even on the phone, I've had to do it recently, and you'd be surprised how many people right now are needing someone to talk to. A hug, even though COVID doesn't want you to. A handshake. All these things that are not connected. Someone opening the door and saying, thank you. It doesn't happen anymore without attitude sometimes and everything else. People have to change their mentality right now, and it needs to happen quickly. Because if not, we're headed down a really, really rough path that I can't even express to you. And I don't want to live in. And I'm hoping and praying that this can change. And I'm not saying change through me. But if one person can get something, from me, and then the next person gets something from that person, then God bless us all, because that's what's going to have to happen. God's going to have to come in and shake this world up, because it is going down in flames. Because we've let them. We've been compliant and just giving it up.
Nothing to do with God. Nothing to do. God ain't going to come down here and do anything. If you don't do it yourself,
no. God's already doing
you're
it.
Doomed. He's done it.
And that's true. Within yourself.
If that's what you believe. If that's what you believe.
Absolutely, I know
God's got
so.
nothing to do with it. All right? So you can only change your own environment. All right?
Right. But you can change your environment and be a good person of love.
God ain't going to come to your rescue. You ain't going to fall to the ground. He's going to come over with a blessing hand and take all the pain away here on this earth. He ain't going to do that.
Okay.
He ain't going to do that.
Bandsaw, it seems like you took offense to her saying that.
Right.
What made you kind of react so harshly to what Stacey said?
The God thing. Like the God is the answer. Personally, like God ain't the answer to anything. Personally, I've got no problems with faith, Brandon, whatsoever. Like how you run your own life, like your moral compass and all that sort of stuff. 100% belief is a very strong part of people's life, and I respect that. But to think that God is going to come down here and do anything in particular for you, or save the earth, or anything like that, all He can do is save you, right?
That's the key.
He'll give you your personal salvation, and that's for you then to go out and spread that. But He ain't going to come down and do anything.
No, God's not going to come down. God, if you want to believe the book God in that kind of manner, He's not going to come down. If you want to believe in the Bible and any of that kind of aspect, exactly. Of course He's not. Exactly. And the Word of God lies in heaven and all those things, right? And Jesus Christ makes a new heaven on earth. I do understand all that. But God is working.
My check. What's going on, everyone?
Hi, honey.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, I agree.
God's doing His work every day. Every day.
Interesting.
So I agree with you 100%. I don't think that a savior is gonna come and save us, and it's just gonna be, fla la 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 la, and everything's gonna be good forever, man. It seems like God provides the tools for you to save yourself.
That's
exactly, Jay.
Even in the Bible, there's repeated stories about how God has had to come to earth, and as soon as He leaves, it goes to shit every time. So there is no single individual that is going to save you. You have to save yourself.
Exactly.
God's already here, though. God is constantly helping you, even though you don't even realize it. And that's the thing that I didn't even realize. I was lost recently, and if you actually know me, I used to speak about spirituality, and I'm actually against the whole, I was like, I'm not going down the Bible route. I don't put a name on it, but there's a creator, right? I've witnessed it. I've had miracles in my life. I've had that feeling. But those days in that 3.5 days, those times in that for 3.5 days in that bus, I can't express to you anything else but God. He's shown me who He was. I fall to my knees now praying in Jesus Christ's name, and I'll continue to do that because I saw who God was. And it was through people, right? Not through a God coming down and saving the world. No, God is speaking through all of us, but we're not listening. We're not hearing Him. The signs are everywhere, and we keep shutting Him out. He's right there.
Well, hey guys, let me interrupt for a minute. I apologize. I've got to read these super chats. I tried not to interrupt you guys, but let me get these out of the way. Godzilla 37. In other news, Gorilla Glue is not hairspray. Who knew? I didn't know that.
I think everybody knew. I think everybody with some common sense knew.
We'll all agree on that one in the room, right?
Finally, something we can agree on. Dan Morris, $4.99. I have an idea for an observation possibility I think you guys will like. Is there an email address I can send a concept schematic for a future show? And I provided him my email address, toybrandon@yahoo.com. Send it to me. And then if you're in Discord, you can hit me up in the Brandon's Flat Earth server Discord too. The link is in the description for the show. And just come on in and ping me or send it to my email, whichever you want. And then there's one more, I think.
Hold on 1 second. Or you can send it to see your own ass in a telescope at gmail.org.
That's a lot to remember there, Jeremy. You want to type it in YouTube or put it in?
I'm just kidding.
Taking Back Eden FE donated $3. Studies have shown that 80% of children at 4 years old lie for selfish reasons and continue into adulthood Lies, corruption is the root, ? That is really interesting. The study would show that. I'll speak for myself. I used to lie when I was a kid to get what I wanted because I was selfish. And some of that carried over into my adult life. And it took me a long time. I'm sure I still tell little white lies every now and then. I won't lie.
Yeah, that's what kids are. Kids are selfish. That's how they come out of their mothers, is a selfish human being wanting everything to be done for them because that's the way that they are. You teach them to be better than that over time. There's nothing wrong with them coming out of their mothers like that. That's how they work. That's how they're supposed to be. If they didn't let you know that they needed something, how would you know when they need something? But you're supposed to teach them how to be better human beings over time as they get older.
I think we actually teach them to lie. We tell them about the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus.
There's that too, yes. Like, people that do that are basically teaching their children it's okay to lie under certain circumstances instead of teaching them the truth, which is lies are never good for anybody at any time, ever. They're always negative. It's just a matter of whether or not you can see the negative in front of you or if you're hiding it or ignoring it.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah, you do have to definitely teach your kids not to do that. But I've had a different experience with, some of my kids than the other ones. You know what I mean? Some of them are more prone to be like that than others. So I think there is a personality thing there too. But good point. Okay, I'm done interrupting. That was it. You guys can go back to talking. I'll get back to the conversation. I do have kind of my own personal view on this whole, religious, spiritual thing, in that I've never had that intense experience that I hear you describing, Stacy, where I feel like God intervened in my life and came into my life. That type of thing has never happened for me. So when I hear you talk about it, it sounds strange to me. And I think, what is she talking about? And I think that's how it comes off to some people too. They just don't understand it.
Of course. If you would have heard me literally a month and a half ago, you wouldn't even think I'm the same person. I mean, I literally would never talk like this because I went for seriously church 3 days a week when I was growing up. And I couldn't stand it. No offense, I was dragged by my hair even as a kid. You're going to school, church today. It was Sunday school and all these other things. And
catechism.
It's like, oh my God, I couldn't take it. And you're going to burn in hell and all these things. I was like, you Christians are ridiculous. But then I got really, really lost. And I didn't know how to find myself on my way out. And yes, I had a friend pull me out. But in that same time as that friend was pulling me out and I could hear the words to keep going, God showed me who God was. And for me, that was an eternal thing to me. That was my own journey, right? I get that. I don't expect anybody else to take us on board. And that's going to be in their own time, their own journey if they do. But I'm just telling you my experiences because I felt like that message for me on that bus was time is short. And we better armor the heck up because it's about to go down. And the things that I saw in society, we don't have time, guys, anymore. I've been seeing it for over a year and a half about flat earth and everything else. And they're using all these words against us, right? Black swan, flattening the curve. I mean, what else do we need? We're literally about to do a university tour in the UK after the World Liger tour, and it was canceled because of COVID. Put a mask on your mouth, don't talk anymore, and don't connect. Exactly what we said we needed to do, and it was taken from us. It's time to take that back.
There's no time for what, Stacey?
Connecting.
What's there no time for? What's there no time for?
Oh, no time for? We're running out of time to fix what has been given to us as coming.
We are running out of time.
Look at society. They're full of drug addicts.
What needs fixing? Drug addicts. So we have to get
definitely.
A drug rehab program in place.
We're beyond that. It's the mindset. The mindset that's already been created in these people that they've turned to something to fix how they feel. And it's been drugs and alcohol and everything else. And these masks and shutting down everything ain't helping people. Let me tell you that right now. We're getting far, far, far away from where we need to be.
We are running out of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So wearing masks is a problem too. That's a problem. We're going to fix that.
It's keeping everybody apart, right? You're 6 feet social distancing. Step away from me. Don't talk to me. Don't breathe on me. Don't hug me. Don't shake my hand. Don't have a connection. Move along. Go home and sit down in front of that TV. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah, we are running out of time though. Stacy's right. I mean, Nathan Thompson got banned from Facebook just for talking about flat Earth. How long before we get banned on Discord or YouTube? or Twitter.
Everything's getting banned every single day, Jeremy. Whether it's flat Earth, whether it's politics, whether it's arts and
medical,
some arty, crafty type of thing that gets banned for whatever particular reason. So, these aren't really the problems. These private platforms that are banning things. All right. And if they are a problem, why not start one that doesn't ban people?
Yeah, we got another super chat from Godzilla37. Such a shame. Jedi is in the Discord, and yet I'm still only hearing rumpus. Obviously, I missed this one earlier. Shout out to Jedi. So big shout out to Jedi from Godzilla37. Thank you, Godzilla. Sorry I missed that.
Quick shout out back to him as well. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so interesting. So as soon as the stuff lifts, you guys are out there on the street. I've never done that kind of flat smacking live. It just isn't my thing. I have talked to people, obviously, in my life about flat Earth, but I've never gone out there and tried to approach strangers.
I would love to fucking do that. I would love that shit. I'm very sociable. Like, I talk to just random strangers on the street, and I'd love to just go out there and just start flat smacking people in public.
Absolutely. It's
you got
fun.
a Trump coat.
Yeah, you seem like you'd be good at it for sure, Jeremy.
I'll fuck someone up out there.
Your Bandy's showing us something.
Oh, what's going on, Bansa? Are you meaning to share your
There
camera?
is 100%, man. There's all the evidence you need for a perfectly flat level horizon. Look at that.
I mean, it's hard to argue with. It is. That's nice. Are you at your new place now? Is this your view?
I am, yeah.
Oh, that's cool,
yeah,
man.
From yesterday. This is from the garage, pretty much.
Wow, that's awesome.
You know,
it's like quite the hill down to the ocean there.
Sunset's right.
I don't know if.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting choppy. Your connection's getting choppy, Bandsaw.
Kangaroo Island.
Brandon, I don't know if you. Brandon, I don't know if you were listening earlier in Gems. I was talking about the circle of vision and lifting up off of that, and they said, you know, I didn't. When we did that thing, they said that we didn't expand the circle as we went up, so it would still appear flat. They think.
Wait, say that again.
Did you hear that or no? Were you listening in Gems earlier?
No, I missed that. Well, they were saying that it doesn't matter if you go up; it's still going to look flat on a globe.
Yeah, because we didn't. When we did that thing, we didn't expand the circle as you went up.
Well, yeah, that's not what the point of it was. It's still going to look flat. So if it expands more as you go higher, then it's not going to look curved. Is that their theory?
They were saying it would still look flat. Yeah.
So this sounds like a very elaborate excuse to try to say that the horizon is going to look curved or flat even on a globe. I love these kinds of things.
No. On a flat Earth, they're saying that it would always look flat even as you come up off that circle that you can see around you.
How the fuck would they know?
I know. I called one of them a flat Earthologist.
But it's weird. It's weird how we can't measure it. We can't observe it. We are very high up. We can't even see it. So it's like, how is it that we're supposed to be convinced of this?
What can't you see? You can see things
You're not
disappearing over the horizon due to the curvature of the Earth. What's the problem?
Jeremy just said that even if you're looking up, the circle will be wide and it will still look flat.
I don't know what circle you're referring to.
Cause you just got here.
What do you mean? I just got been here. I've been here all the time.
Jeremy, can you repeat what you said?
All right. If you make a circle around you, mimicking your 360 degrees as you turn around your line of sight, presupposing that you could see in the same distance, all around you, then there's no crazy weather conditions.
Yeah.
So you make this circle around you, right? You can use like dominoes or anything that's all the same height. You could do it on a kitchen table, on a floor in your kitchen, whatever. and you put your camera level with those circle of the height of those objects, it looks like it's a straight line.
Yeah.
But then as you raise up off it, you start to see the curve.
Correct.
Even though they're all in reality flat.
Correct. So that's just a perspective position. Yeah. Now you see, but initially when you're at the same level, all the objects are at the same distance. But as you go further up, there's an angle now. The things to the right are there's a effectively if you take a line out of your camera lens, there are things that are above the camera lens, and there are things that are on the same level still as your camera lens. And so then you get the curve.
Are you saying your angle change? If you change your angle, it changes the way you view things?
Well, if you're at the same level, all the things are at the same level.
Come on, say it, Rumpus. Don't Rumpus.
I don't understand your problem with geometry.
Why was that hard for you to admit just there? If you change your angle on something, does it change the way you see it?
Well, it's like saying 1 plus 1 is equal to 2.
Just say it,
Come on, Rumpus.
I'm not quite sure what point you're trying to make. If you let me, I can show you in a 3D program what's going on.
Only if you're going to put a point G on it.
I can show you in a 3D program.
Put a point G.
No. You don't need to drag this on, man. You just have to say yes or no. It's very simple.
It was a badly formed. The trouble is, Jeremy specializes in badly formed and unprecise language, and so I have to.
No.
No, get the fuck out of here.
Rumpus, come on, come on. I heard him loud and clear.
If you change the angle to something, so the exact formulation of your words, where if you change the angle with which you're looking at something, then it changes what?
How you see it.
Well,
it's
a very unscientific thing. If you mean to say,
it's weird how come every time there's a hard question, all of a sudden you're not scientific.
No, it's sloppy. It's sloppy language. When I describe things, I'm very particular about using angles and sizes, so there's nothing ambiguous about it. To say how you see it is a very ambiguous term.
Rumpus,
yes, I agree.
Making it optical.
Rumpus, we're looking at this straight line. We're level with let's say we use dominoes on our kitchen floor. We made a circle. We're looking at the tops of these. We're level with it. The tops of them look like they're all in a straight line, right? Then we change our angle. And now they appear to be curving.
Yeah,
right?
let me draw this in this 3D
I know
program.
we don't need to draw it. We don't need to draw. All you had to do was say yes when we change our angle. Because I had a huge debate. I don't know. I think it might have been last week right here on this show about changing your angle makes you view things different. And all the Globers were certain that I was full of shit when I said that.
Well, I didn't. Well, I
not, but I mean, it was Ruhif. It was Ruhif and a bunch of other crackpot Globers. Left Lane might have been here. No offense.
I'm not following what you're saying about if you're looking at the horizon and you change your angle. It changes how you see it. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's not obvious quite what he means. Yes, it's very ambiguous, sort of.
Well, just like the circle of dominoes, where it all looks straight, but then we come up off it, even though it's a circle of vision you could see in. Then when you rise up, seeing starts to appear curved, even though we know they're all flat.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to draw this thing in 3D, so I'll get back to you in a second.
Yeah, you draw it, George. You draw it. Brandon,
if you don't put a point G on there, you're fucking done, Rumpus.
Brandon, you there, mate?
I am. What's up?
White's word experiment.
Yes.
Now, I've just got a couple of questions about that. Now, these poles he's going to be placing along, is he having pulleys or something on top of those poles? Is he on the very top? So the rope pulls over the top of these pulleys, or some sort of guidance system? Is that how it's going to work?
Yes, he hasn't specified exactly how he's going to do it, but just based on his diagram, they're going over the poles, and then he just has a circle there, but somehow he's pulling it and guiding it. Yeah.
And one would imagine whatever poles that you use, you'd have to rig up some sort of decent bracing system too.
Absolutely.
Can't just put in a couple of stars. So these are going to have to be quite substantial frames, I would have thought. It's no.
You might
it's
be
not
all right
easy.
burying a. You might be all right burying a fence post 8 feet deep.
Nah, not a chance. No, you got to brace those puppies up. You got to build like little windmills, like little towers. Because you're gonna have because you're gonna have a lot of lateral stress on that. Would you not agree, Rumpus, with what I'm saying there?
Sorry, I was too busy doing this 3D model. Say again.
So this Whitesword experiment. This one where he wants to get
I got that bit.
Yeah. The posts that he's periodically putting along here, one at 5 miles.
The BCDF
Yeah,
things.
exactly right. Now, because of the weights we're talking about and the tension, these poles are going to have to be quite substantially braced just to keep them in place without moving laterally too much left or right, because there's going to be a lot of force.
Well, not really, because the vertical forces are going to be very small because of the angle. Well, it's all not going to work. I mean, as I pointed out, perhaps you missed it yesterday. I've invalidated the whole thing. So unfortunately,
why? Why did you? How?
Okay. Do you want me to? Do people want me to go into it again?
I mean, you can either do it now or you can wait till the after show. I don't really care.
Okay, because I explained it yesterday. I mean, Brandon didn't understand what I was saying.
I did understand. Don't misunderstand. I understood what you were saying. I said it was theoretical, and I disagreed.
It's all theoretical.
I think that it'll.
Well, you didn't understand it then.
I did understand.
If you disagreed with it.
I did.
If you understood it, then you can't disagree with it.
That's not true, Rumpus. What you think is true and what you accept, I don't have to accept. That doesn't mean I don't understand it.
Well, you don't. Well, if you understood it, you would. It's so compelling if you understand it.
No.
It is.
You can't tell me I don't understand something. That's just not how things work.
You don't understand it.
And I actually don't think you've got any idea about the weights that are concerned. Hold on, Bob. Sorry for interrupting you there when I was talking there, Bob. I don't think you understand the forces involved, Rumpus, to be quite honest with you. You're not just talking about the line itself. You're talking about any moisture, any little bits of sand, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Also, to get on the line, all this stuff compounds, Rumpus.
Yeah, you're talking about the friction. I was proposing that he would do it through water in the end to avoid the frictional forces. I was suggesting laying this in water, so you'd avoid all the frictional stuff you're talking about. But unfortunately, that still doesn't save it. I mean, I can explain that, but I explained
it. You'll still get lateral forces. You will still get lateral forces pulling those posts either left or right.
You're talking about these posts on the end, just to clarify, you're going to be yanking on these. You got quite a bit of weight or force that you're pulling on this line. It's going to pull these back and forth. Yes. It's going to want to pull those posts into the center, right? So you're going to have to brace these so they don't move.
Yeah, right, exactly. And also to all the way along, Brandon, you're going to get the same effect all the way along.
No, you're not.
The only one where you may... Yes, you will, Rumpus.
Listen. Let me answer. For goodness sake, let me answer. Right. The point is, the tension on one side is matched by the tension on the other side. So there's no lateral pulling or pushing on these posts. So there's not an issue. You're not understanding what's going on. The tension on one. It's not as though these posts are having to hold the tension because they've got the tensions on the other side. If this were to work.
I don't think you're talking about the same thing, Rumpus.
For individual pole, the tension to the left and the right is the same. Therefore, there's no issue. There's no
Listen, Rumpus, hold on. You're going to be pulling both ends at the same... Listen, Rumpus.
I wasn't me talking. Someone else.
Both ends of this line pulled at the same time.
Yes.
Right? You're going to have both of these...
Yeah, so the posts in the middle aren't being pulled one way or the other, are they? It's like being in the middle of it's like being in the middle of a tug of war. You're not going to be pulled. You don't need lots of bracing if you're in the middle of a tug of war. You're just being pulled either way the same amount. So you don't need any bracing.
Numpty. Listen, Rumpus, all right? Take 30 seconds, all right? If these things are going to go over a pulley or something over the top of it, as this line is going in one direction only because it's been pulled from one side.
No, it's being pulled from both sides.
It will be pulled from both sides, but the only one that really won't move.
It's like being in a tug of war in the middle. You don't need to brace the thing in the middle.
Exactly right.
So you don't need any bracing then, do you? You've got a tug of war, you're being pulled one side and the same amount the other side. So therefore you do not need any... There's no great bracing required in the middle.
So of course you need bracing, Rumpus.
No, you don't, because you're being pulled the same either way.
100% you do.
Golly goodness.
Anyway, not arguing anymore because you've got no real world bloody practical experience anyway.
You're a moron. It's as simple as
You're
that.
definitely gonna want those posts on the end to be very solid and
yeah,
structure
the
them
ones on
down.
the end. Yes,
That's what he's talking about.
No, he's not. He talked about the post B to F, if you remember from the earlier 2 minutes ago. He specifically stated the post B to F needed bracing, not the A and G.
On the end. The only posts are the ones on the end. There are no other posts.
He talked about B into F, he said.
There's no
there are
posts there.
Look at the diagram.
All right,
there are loads of posts from B to
I
F.
think that's the misunderstanding. Let's see. Bandsaw, are you talking about the posts on the end, A and G, or are you talking about these middle points in the middle?
Well, 100% I'm talking about A and G. They're going to need substantial bracing.
Right, well, you said
100%
B and F when I asked you.
All right, that was the miscommunication.
100%.
It's not a big deal. So, Rumpus, he's talking about A and G. That's all there is to it.
Right, indeed, yes, they need to be very substantial. You're hanging 1,000-kilogram weight off them or something.
Very.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Point G.
So, what do you think about this, Bandsaw? I don't know that I've heard your thoughts on this.
Sure.
Do you think it's viable, or do you think it's a waste of time? Are you still thinking about it? Did we lose him? Bandsaw? Yep, we lost him.
It's no lazy.
Over that distance, you've got a lot of wiggle room, don't you? You've got a lot of wiggle room over that distance. Scaling that experiment down would be a lot more difficult because the tolerance is a lot less. But I think over that distance, if it can pull it off, which I am a little bit dubious about it, but it's got a lot of merit. It really does. And it has to do what he says it does. It has to register one way or the other. It can't do anything else if you can pull it.
If you look,
If you can get it to register up. The problem I'm having with it is, are we going to be able to register up at any of the points?
I think.
Well, you may be able to. It just
Yeah,
depends on what
maybe,
you pull it with.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
What sort of width system?
Well, I think B and F are your best shot to register something up, and you're only talking about what that's 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers. So you're yanking on that. If it comes off of B or F, it's game over.
It's over. A game over. Yep, absolutely.
Once the rope lays down on the ground, it no longer has any vertical forces whatsoever to subject to the other parts of the line, so it will not work.
Yeah, I don't know
Rumpus
about
thinks
that.
once a rope hits the ground, for some reason you can't lift it off the ground. I don't know.
Okay, listen, here's a quick sentence for you, Jeremy, to think on. If there were any vertical forces on a rope lying on the ground, a little point where it first touches the ground, then it would lift up off the ground. The fact that it's lying on the ground means there are no vertical forces exerting on it.
Hey, Rumpus, there doesn't have to be vertical force on the entire line. If B and F, if we can exert enough physical or vertical force just to get B or F to register an upward force, that's it. Game over.
But it won't. Once the rope touches the ground, that means there are no vertical forces on the rope.
You are not thinking about it. If it comes off the ground at B or F, it has to register an upward force to move upwards, right?
But immediately it touches the ground, that means there are no verticals, and it will sag onto the ground, as Matt White's word said, and it will do so before it reaches point F. That's the whole point. If you can hold the rope up so that it's actually held up and not touching the ground between the point G and the scales, then you've got a different story. But immediately it touches the ground, you've therefore used up all the vertical force. There are no vertical forces being exerted on the rope at that point or any scale that's touching it.
Please listen to me for a second. If I'm pulling this end, where is it going to come off the ground first? Here, right? This part's still all on the ground. I'm okay. I'm pulling from point G. I'm pulling point G, and where it says 1.96 meters.
Right. Where does it touch the ground, Brandon?
Okay.
Where does the rope
Listen to me. It starts touching the ground there, and it touches the ground all the way over to the other post. But when I pull on that line right there next to the post is going to move upwards. If it moves upwards, there has to be a force in the upwards direction, because when something moves, it exerts a force in the direction it moves, correct?
Right, so hold on. So now you're saying, you're now worrying about the You're now no longer worrying about the force acting on the scale S. You're now worrying about the rope lifting up between G and F. Is that correct?
I am making a point. Yes, that's what I'm speaking about right now. So if I pull and I can get a force here, this is all still on the ground. There's still a force here, and I pull it hard enough, it goes up here. It goes up here. There's a force here. It goes up here. If I can even get it off the ground at F, and this is still all over on the ground here. If it even comes off of F, that's game over.
Right. We can't see your pointer, by the way. I don't know if you're pointing at things.
Oh.
But I can't see the pointer in your.
Oh, sorry. If it comes off of F, my point is comes off the ground from G to F, comes off of F. That's it.
Right, but the same thing would happen. The same thing would happen on a flat Earth as well.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
It would, because
have you been not paying attention this whole time?
No, you not being paying. Right.
That's what I'm saying. That if it came off of F, that would mean it's a flat Earth. That would falsify the globe.
No, he's saying it's going to happen on a globe too. He thinks.
No, he just said the same thing would happen on a flat Earth.
Right. So now you're doing a different thing. You're now saying, at what point does the thing leave the rope? And we can forget all about the scales and all the stuff to the left. You're now right. Okay, so you're now saying we're pulling at point G, and then the rope is going to lift up, and then the question is, at what point can you lift it up? And will it go above the 1.9 meters? So in other words, if you can get it to be lift up above the 1 point, whatever it is, we work out the 1.9 of the angle.
Do you not understand what's going on?
No, hold on a minute. Let me clarify this with him. If you can get it to lift, off above this red line.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can't do that. Correct. Yes, and it won't do that.
Why?
Because you think it's a globe.
A completely different thing to what White's words.
No, it's not. If the line moves upwards, it has an upward force. You jackass.
Yes, but hold on, moron. He was talking about measuring things between F and B. Now you're not proposing now to not worry about that at all.
I am talking about the same
experiment.
thing. At F
no, you're
to
not.
B.
He was worrying about.
I am talking about measuring the force from F to B. The same thing. All I'm pointing out is if the rope comes off of point F, that's all you need. That means it registered a force. So you only have to worry about getting it off the ground from G to F.
So that's a completely different thing to what he's proposing.
It's not.
It's not. It's exactly the same.
It is.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Rumpus?
No, you're not.
I'm starting to feel like you're obfuscating, Rumpus. I'm starting to feel like you're obfuscating.
No, I'm not. You don't understand what you're talking about. But the point is to do that. And what you've done is exactly the reverse of what I was saying yesterday, whereas I was trying to put it at point D and then saying, okay, so now you've got a different experiment where you're saying how much you can lift. And what the trouble is, you will not be able to put sufficient tension on that rope to lift it because it will break before it would lift up.
Now it'll break. Now the problem is it'll break.
All right. Right. I'll show you what the problem is. Let me draw a diagram here.
Well, you tell us when your
diagram's ready. Don't put his diagram
ready.
on a big screen unless it's got a point.
Does anybody else have a problem with what I'm saying? Bandsaw?
I understand what you're saying. I thought Rumpus was on board with this, but apparently he doesn't know what's going on.
No, hold on. Do you not remember what I was saying
From
yesterday,
the
I was completely not on board.
Hey, Rumpus, shut the fuck up. I was spoken to, Rumpus, so shut the fuck up. All right? Now, quite obvious from the drawing that if you can get enough tension on the line, that if the rope comes above either B or F, it's game over.
Yeah.
It can't on a globe. Game over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got it, Bandsaw. You're on it.
Game over.
You're on it. I don't know why Rumpus doesn't understand this.
I understand perfectly.
Rumpus, this is a kindergarten drawing. You should be able to understand it.
I understand it perfectly.
You should be able to understand it.
You don't understand it. I do.
You don't know.
I understand it perfectly. Right. So now, if you look at my screen, now we're not talking anymore about what's going on over point B and all the points to up here. We're now worrying about lifting up a rope and seeing whether or not the lift that we can lift the rope at this point here. Well, actually, this point, which I'll call point
G.
C.
G.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You
were rude to me, Jeremy. You're not going to get it now. So the point here where we cannot possibly lift it up above is this point C.
Okay.
This is where the curvature. So this is a completely different thing to what White's, because he was worried about what was going on over here and forces registering on this. This is now a different experiment.
No, he was going to measure the forces at this point C, Rumpus. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't want you to go down this whole long road. You're wrong.
And now you're talking about, he was talking about having the rope on the ground and measuring forces from the rope to the left of where it's on the ground. Now, you're not doing that now. You're saying you want to see if the rope can be lifted up off the ground, and you're now worrying about forces before it touches the ground. He was talking about the rope lying on the ground and exerting forces left. So your thing is completely different.
It isn't. It isn't completely different. It's the same exact setup, same exact result.
What was going on at S, Brandon?
No, he was listen to me. Listen to me. If you look at his diagram,
completely different.
No, I'm not. If you look at his diagram, he's got the 5 points marked that he's going to measure the force at. He always said he was going to measure the force at the 5 points.
If you look at this diagram, they are to the left of where the rope touches the ground. So that's all completely irrelevant. So this point you're making is more valid, but you still then got a different problem. This was actually what I was describing yesterday, but I don't suppose you picked up in the reverse case. So you're now saying, if I lift this up and I want to make sure that to register a vertical force, it mustn't touch the ground, because immediately it touches the ground, then that means there's no vertical force on it. So what you need to say is, what point can I put sufficient tension on this such that it would lift? And if you can, then we can tell you how far this would be. So if you made this, whatever it is, 1.9 meters, we could tell you what this point is. Basically, the distance to the not to the horizon. I'll go and calculate what that point is. So we could then say, if you can register a force upwards, a particular distance, given it's 1.9 meters up, we could say that if you can register a vertical force up, in other words, and all you don't need to measure it, you can just see if the rope lifts up. In fact, is all you need to do. You could say that if it's a distance, you could say at a distance which I'm going to call x from the base here. If it lifted up at a distance x, I could specify would confirm the globe. And if it lifted up above that, then you could say, yes, that invalidates the globe. But that is a completely different thing to what he was doing.
No, it's not.
So it's the same thing. But I'm glad you agree that if we can get it to lift up. I'm glad you agree.
No, he was.
I'm glad you agree. Hold on,
he was talking about having the rope on the ground throughout his description. He talks about having the rope on the ground. This is about having the rope not on the ground. Do you not understand the difference? Jesus Christ!
He wants to. He wants to hug the earth. He wants to hug the earth around the beach line. That's exactly what he wants to do.
And you've got to avoid that. If it's touching the ground, you've lost the experiment.
No.
Don't you think if the rope touches the ground, we've lost the experiment?
Don't you think it's a little bit overcomplicating a simple thing? What's wrong with the laser beam? I mean, what is all this?
We're trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid optical things.
It's optics.
Yeah, the whole point of our goal is no optics.
That line is no good. That's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You're not going to get the required tension and torque that you want.
What will happen? This is like
you need to be more specific.
So what's going to happen? What is in practice going to happen then? If you try and lift this rope to the point of lifting it to a point C, the tension you're going to have to put on this will be so large it will snap.
What are you basing that on? What are you basing that on, Rumpus?
I can tell you what the distance will be. If you have 1.9 meters here, we can just calculate where point C is. And if he can get the rope to lift up at point C, then indeed he will have invalidated the globe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's a completely different experiment. That is a completely different experiment to the one that he proposed.
It's not a completely different experiment.
It is completely different.
It isn't.
So I'll tell you what X is. So I'll tell you what. I'll put in this 1.9 meters, and I'll just go away and calculate how far X, in other words, the distance from here to here, has got to be. And if he can get the rope to lift up at point C, at this distance X, he will have invalidated the globe. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
go ahead. Go off and do your calculation.
Yeah, I'll go and do that now.
Go away.
Can anyone tell me where that diagram is? Where is it posted? I don't know.
This is literally the same thing we've been talking about
it's
the
not.
whole time. I thought you went away to draw a diagram.
Rumpus, I mean, I'm kind of new to this, and I've been hearing the same thing over and over, but that's okay. You know, I got a lot of stuff going on in the background. Maybe I missed something, Rumpus. I'm not trying to put you down or anything.
No,
but, I think I'm getting it, hon.
Yeah, you understand. It's just Rumpus is a glober, so you know he's got a handicap.
Your statement, whoever you, the girl, I'm afraid that statement made no sense other than you've just arrived here early. I'm afraid.
No, I do
Yeah,
that.
so, it was absolutely
That
zero
made a
content.
lot of
What you
sense,
said. Zero content, I'm afraid.
That made a lot of sense.
I love it.
What a mess.
You only have to
Yeah, I
register
think-
something at point B or F, right?
Yeah.
At first, if you get something at C and E, that smashes it. Absolutely smashes it out of the water. If you get any sort of readings at C or E, but if we can get a reading at B and F, that would pretty much on the way. There.
Yep.
The numbers
Absolutely.
don't lie.
This is going to take a lot of work just
The numbers
listening,
don't
though.
lie. The
I
numbers
mean,
don't lie.
how many people you're going to have to get involved to do this and make sure it's done right, and how far this is being done? You understand what I'm saying? It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of people and some money. And I'm not saying that money can't be provided, because even with the tour, people are donating anonymously. So things can happen. I do know people too. But we're talking about, is this actually manageable? Can it be done? So before we even go down this process, please let me know if it can be done. You guys really think so? Because I'll reach out to this community. I know some anonymous people, they don't want to talk about it, but we can get some funding. But it has to be managed correctly.
Stacey, you don't have to worry about the funding. Yeah, he wouldn't say no if you wanted to chip in $1 or $2 or whatever. But this guy is prepared to fund everything himself.
Okay.
And to do it too. This is what he said. So he's gonna get apparently.
Well, people say a lot of shit. I'm just saying. If we really want it done, as far as we can get some shit done. I'm just saying.
What we could use is some trusted flat earthers that are near him, maybe to help.
Where is he, Jeremy? Is he?
Yeah, help validate the integrity of the thing. Yeah.
Where is he, Jeremy?
I think he's in Southern Australia or something.
Oh, wait. We're talking about Jeranism right now?
No.
No.
White tour.
Okay, I'll make sure.
Yeah.
Is he in South Australia, Jeremy?
I don't.
He is.
All I know is Australia. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
He is South Australia. Well, there you go. You've got FE and myself. We're both in South Australia too.
Yeah.
There you go. If he needs help, we're gonna holler at you.
And drop us a line if you need something.
Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be too many unexpected variables coming into this thing. That rope is just not enough. How can you prove the curvature with that? You're not going to do it.
Because Jen, if it comes up off
you guys are talking about.
Jen, if it comes up off of point B, if it goes up at point B, then the globe's falsified.
Okay. But I don't think they're going to achieve it.
How far are we doing this? How many miles?
That is tough.
If it registers some pressure down over the scale.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to achieve. It's not going to be, it's a good idea. Someone else had tried it. An Australian did try it back in 2016 or 17. And he was speaking about it on the Flat Earth podcast to Dave Weiss and Generous and Curious J.
He used different line. He used different lines. Similar, but
he used a different line. Yeah, he did. And it snapped.
This guy's got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's White's is looking at, his name's White's word. His handle is. He's looking at some thick line. I think he said it was 8 mils thick, if I remember correctly.
The fact that this guy was even smart enough to think of this.
8.5.
You're going to need more than that. You're going to need it more thicker than that because of the stretch value, man. What distance are we talking as well?
The fact that this guy, listen, we've been trying to think of this for over a year now.
Right.
The fact that this guy was able to come up with something.
And don't worry.
Is amazing.
Oh, okay. I think I see what you guys.
Kudos to him anyway. Kudos to him. I don't want to take away from you for his efforts.
Yeah. Activism, right, is important, and any kind of even thought process of it, because there's a lot of this stale shit going through the community right now. We're just kind of staying stagnant. We need to seriously start doing some work. And honestly, I understand they don't have any proof, they don't have any evidence of this globe, but we have a lot of things that are, at our hands that we could do, right? We should be doing it, but we're not.
Yeah,
It's observations and everything.
Kudos to the guy anyway.
I got one myself.
Let's hear it.
I want to be able to boil hot water in a kettle at sea level and then boil hot water,
okay,
say about 2,000, 3,000 feet on a mountain. and see if entropy level different, if one burns faster than the other. Observe different phenomenons happening and mark it down.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was up on Mount Fuji
Then-
at the summit. I didn't notice any difference in how quickly that water boiled, I must admit.
Yeah, well, I want to.
Yeah.
But then again, I wasn't a flat earther at the time, so there we are.
All right.
You know, not too long ago, we were trying to break down refraction in a different way because we were told, you know, we're looking at atmosphere and what it does and everything. And I could see that going down a really good pattern because, to be honest, let's be real here, refraction has been quantified beyond belief. And to see what they're wanting us to see at 53 miles and even further than that, we're talking about zeros and ones in reality. That doesn't exist. So for that, yeah, let's go break down some stuff that we can actually verify. Optics are optics at the end of the day.
That's why we had to get rid of the optical thing, because there's obviously something happening in the atmosphere that is causing apparent drop. But they're saying the refraction is working in the opposite way. So, you know, I think they got the refraction thing wrong. I'm not denying that refraction happens, but they got these atmospheric effects wrong because obviously something's making shit appear to drop. So we're taking the whole optical thing right out of it.
What about 92 miles away? Being able to see that.
Bro, Rumpus said you could see your own ass. Rumpus said you could see your own ass in a telescope.
Yeah, no,
So-
Rumpus is amazing. He's something else. Dr. John D did an experiment 3 feet off the water. He was looking at windmills, but we could see the other side. I just posted in the chat. That was London at 92 miles away. I'll post it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've looked at that quite a bit on this channel. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, nice stuff, ain't it?
Yeah,
Dude,
really
you can
good.
see the other side of the lake, dude.
Yeah,
It's right there.
Yeah, that footage was amazingly clear. Even the windmills at, what was it, 10 miles or something like that. I've never seen footage that clear at that distance. It was amazing.
Yeah, 11.2. But past
Yeah.
that, dude, you can see the other side,
Right.
which is London.
Right. Yeah, that's the only thing that we could think it could be. No one could come up with something else that could be. A barge. There's just nothing else that could be except land over there. But it's impossible to tell from the picture or pinpoint it. You have to look at a map and kind of deduce what it is across there, unfortunately.
Right. Well, that's the best I have right there.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we let them use refraction. The only thing they've ever provided to even show this kind of refraction is a sugar medium. Why are we even letting them use it? They shouldn't be able to use it in the first place, but we're allowing it. Oh, go ahead. Refraction?
I've exposed half of these guys here. Rumpus one day debunked main surveyor's refraction measurements. They have no idea what's going on with this refraction.
They don't.
They're guessing. They're guessing.
Right. I have asked them, is there a limit to refraction? Since you guys got a fixed horizon, right, or fixed curvature, is there a limit?
Oh, no, there's a limit, they say, because it wasn't too long ago. It's in
Right.
Texas at 4,300 elevation, and Zanuck said to me, oh, you won't have to deal with so much refraction, or Stacey, this is good for you. And I was like, oh, really? Because every day I'm seeing things that I shouldn't see on your role model, and I'm telling you, it changes by the hour, or by the every 10 minutes.
That's
Oh, there's
what
mountains
I
today.
say.
Oh, there's not mountains today. Well, I can even see further away. Oh, what's
Yep.
that? It's like, what the heck? You guys are just full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just going by data. That's it.
I literally heard Ruhif on this channel when Ranty was here say that is greater than infinite refraction. I don't. You must have been talking about the black swan or something. But he literally said those words. It's in Miggy's numpty list.
Infinite refraction.
Greater than infinite refraction. Yeah.
Oh, that's
you
great.
You guys got to watch Miggy's. Yo, you guys. Shout out to Miggy. You guys got to. You guys got to watch Miggy's numpty playlist. It's fucking great.
Well, it's not about the streets, so I don't think so.
I need to explain something real quick because that 1/8 of an inch is dead ass wrong. I just did it the long way, just to be safe. Okay, I did it the long way, and it's off grossly. 1 second, and I'll give you my calculations. Are so simple. Watch this.
All right, let me just clear up something. This is France. Ranty saying that this is France in this John D picture. On
No,
the other
it's
side.
actually London. John D,
not
I posted
London.
it. Okay, well then you better tell John D that because he emailed me and told me.
He told you it was London?
My bad. I apologize.
No, we got
France,
a
my bad. It's the other side.
contradiction here. It's one or the other. It's either France or London. What's the difference, right?
No, yeah.
Where are you posting that image? Because I can't find it.
Okay, 13 minutes after the hour. That's
Yeah,
his
in what
email.
part?
My bad. I got it.
In general.
Yeah, it's France. It's the other side.
Oh, okay, it is France. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Randy.
Are you in the
behind
general?
him. London.
I got them mixed up. My bad, guys. I apologize.
No big deal.
General? Are you posting it in general? Where are you posting it?
I posted in general. Yeah, it's
Okay.
13 minutes. That's his email that he sent me. And that's the
very
video
much.
right there. I
Very
can
much.
share the video that this guy did a video on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Is this you? Oh, that's Rumpus.
Oh,
You were
sorry.
going to share something, Brian, or what?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so here you go.
we
So
fucking
if
hear
you
you.
Okay, so here you go. You
Jesus
take
Christ.
you take a globe, okay? It's got a diameter of 8,000. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We hear you.
We
yeah.
can hear you, hon.
Loud and
Go ahead.
loud
It's got a
and clear.
diameter of 8,000 miles, okay? And it's got a circumference of 24,000 miles. We're going to do that for simplicity. Okay, we put one sagitta. Now we've got two. So we got two sections, 12,000 miles apiece with an 8,000 mile diameter. Now 4 sections. We've got 4,000 radius.
Take
And
your time, bud.
and you got 4 sections of 6,000 each. 4 sections, 6,000 each. Okay. Now we break it down into 8 sections. Okay. Then we got 2,000. Okay. 2,000 feet for 1,000 feet. Okay. We break it into 16 sections. Then we got 500 for 750 feet. We break it into 64 sections. We got 250 sections, 375 feet. Okay, we break it down into 64 or 128 sections. We got 175 foot with 187. I mean miles. 175 miles to 187 miles. Okay, 256 sections. We got 87.5 miles to 93.87 miles. 500. If we break this Earth down into 512 sections. Okay, then we got 43.75 miles to 46.93 miles. 1,024 sections, we got 21.87 miles to 23.46 miles. That's the distance, the differential. So now 2,048 sections, we got 10.93 miles to 11.73 miles. That's the difference. Okay, if we break
That's what we need
down,
right there. That's what we need
yes,
right there.
Wait,
That
one
miles
more,
fuck.
Jeremy. One more. If we break the Earth down into 4,096 sections like a disco ball, 5.97 or 5.47 miles chords, then you got 5.86 would be the distance. So over 5.5 miles, it's easily recognizable. If you break the globe down into sections, so that 1/8 of an inch is not right, man.
Brandon, is he right?
Well done,
Is
man.
he right,
well
Brandon?
done, that guy.
Completely wrong.
Leaky, he's wrong, Rumpus.
Completely wrong, Brian. Completely.
You got to
wrong.
make up, Rumpus. You got to make up that 12,000 miles to the 8,000 miles over the course of the 12,000 miles.
Again, I
you
explained
have
to
to
this
get
about half an hour ago. I explained to him that these things are at different angles, and he hasn't allowed for that.
No, you don't have to make it up because you're so close to their surface of their ball. There's never that angle. You can't compare how much different that chord halfway across is to a little tiny section. If you did a bunch of those little tiny sections, it's not going to be that much shorter than the entire half circumference.
Draw it on paper, bro. Draw it on paper. You could do it. There's no getting around it, bro. There's no getting around that math. It's gonna inversely work its way down and up in the number of sections you have, down in the distance. There's no getting around it.
No, you don't understand the geometry of it, Brian, I'm afraid. I'll explain to you in a second. I'll just get back to you. I've got an answer now for how far the distance X would be on my diagram that you would have to have if you could lift the rope up at a distance X, that would invalidate the globe. And that distance, if you were doing a 1.9 meters, let's say it's 6 foot person, let's say 6 foot, it would be the drop distance, which would be 3 odd miles. So if you manage to lift the rope for 3 miles above the ground, if the point where it's being lifted up from is 6 foot high, and you had the rope lifted up 3 miles away, you would invalidate the Earth, globe Earth.
Now, if you draw a globe, okay, but with if you draw a globe with 4,096 flat surfaces, okay, then each one of them straight lines is going to have to be 5.47 miles scaled, and the curved part is going to have to be 5.86 miles. There's no getting around it. Trick all you want. There's no getting around that.
Right. Can you see my diagram, Brian? With this thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And you're
How many minutes past the hour? Sorry. Your diagram.
This is the chord to the arc segment, Rumpus, so we're not confused.
Well, let's just make sure we're talking about, Brian. You're trying to work out the difference between the chord and the arc segment. So here we are in my diagram. I've got an arc length S.
I'm drawing a disco ball, Rumpus, okay?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Let's make sure what you're trying to prove here. Let's make absolutely sure, so in no doubt, can you see my diagram, Brian? Can you see my diagram? So make sure we all know what we're talking about.
Before we do your diagram, answer me this, Rumpus. Answer me this. If we break it down, if we break the Earth down into two sections, we'd have. Just answer it. Are you scared, Rumpus, to answer simple questions?
No, you're going to get confused. If you look at my diagram, it'll reduce the confusion.
Oh no, I'm not going to get confused, buddy. You're going to not go through this.
Are we talking about bulges, or are we talking about chord length?
Before your wizardry, agree with me or disagree with me.
Are we talking about chord lengths and arc lengths, or are we talking about bulges and sagittas? What are we talking about?
We're talking about a ball.
We're talking about
a ball, okay? Rumpus, answer me this.
Are you talking about bulges and sagittas, or are you talking about...
Why are you scared to answer one question, bro? Why are you scared to answer one question, Rumpus? Rumpus, why are you scared to answer one question?
I'm just trying to work out what you're talking about.
I'm not going to let you until you clarify my question.
I don't know what you're talking about, Brian.
Then listen to my question.
Well, I'm not sure.
I'm not going to answer your questions until you answer my clarifying question.
Come on, guys.
I don't understand.
Yeah, guys.
Brian, I'll know.
I've got one question, and then it's all yours. But I need to get this question to you. Period.
Okay, let's speak it. Please, let him have the floor.
All right, my question to Rumpus is, if I make a ball, okay, if I make 4,096 straight lines into a circle, scaled 1 inch to 1 mile, is it not going to match up 5.47 feet for each, or 5.47 inches for each curve, each arc of that section, and 5.86 for 5.86 for each curve and 5.47 for each straight line?
Right.
So a disco ball.
Right, so, okay, for a disco, so you are talking about the arc length versus the chord length. You're saying if I were to break up, in my diagram here, if I were to break up the ball, how many sections did you say it was? 4,000 and something?
Yep.
But the whole ball or just half a ball? The whole
ball, 4,000.
Right, so so what you're saying is if I do this, and I
can't see your screen, but just keep...
Right, so
just keep doubling the lines around the ball, and that's what you get.
Yeah, let's I can draw it. So if we have this arc that I've got, I've got 12 here. So he's saying if you do this, whoops, damn it.
At what point does it deviate? That's my question.
Right.
If it goes from 12 to 8, and then 6 to 4, from 2 to 1, from 1 to 5 to 0.5, at what point does that math go wrong? Because 0 would be the answer. It doesn't go wrong. It's infinite.
Right. So you are talking about breaking up the ball. I've drawn 3 in here, but we could have more.
What?
This many segments, disco board. You're saying. So if we brought that up into 4,000 segments, right? You're talking about 4,000. Did you say 4,096 or did you say 4,000?
4,096. Okay, that's working its way down from. Working its way down from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. I'm just doubling the sections, bro. That's all I'm doing is expanding it out.
That's fine. So you've converted a circle into 4,069 chords. Okay. And
I've converted a circle into a bunch of straight lines, bro.
Yeah, that's
what you get.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So you've got 4,096 chords. Now, what is it? Your problem? You're saying the chord lengths versus the arc lengths. The difference between that. You're saying is going to be.
Yeah. Let's do it the long way. So we do it the long way. Okay, so we got 2. We got 2 of them.
The error will be, so at 4,096, that means you've broken the angle of the Earth.
If you make a square, Rumpus, you're going to have 4,000 each. The straight lines are going to be 4,000, and the curves are going to be 6,000. Would you agree with that? If I make a square and draw a circle around it.
Well, hold on. All you've done
Just
is
answer the question. If I draw a square,
understand your point, and I'm going to make it clear. All you've done.
Trust me, y'all. He will not answer this.
Into 4,096 points. That's all you've done. We understand.
No. We're going to do it the long way. If I draw a square with side 4.
You've just turned a circle into 4.
He won't answer this, guys. Trust me. He can't answer this simple question.
I'm just avoiding your confusions. All you've done, as it seems to me, is to turn a circle, or sphere, or let's just do a circle, into 4,000.
We're going to start with a square.
Straight line segments. Why? Why don't you just say
because I'm not going to lose anybody, including you. If we have sides on a square of 4.
You've made the statement that you've turned a circle into 4,096 chords.
Well, let's start with 4. We'll just go We'll go 2 orders up. That's all.
4,096, and we can go straight to that. We don't have a problem. So if you're doing it 4,096, I can.
He won't answer the simple question of a 4-sided square being 4 inches and 6 inches.
I'm going to cut into
the chase.
He stopped. Cut to the chase, Brian.
Cut to the chase.
So that means you have an error between the actual arc length because you're doing it 4,096. That means you've got an angle of. That is going to be, you've turned 360 divided by...
Is he doing 18 degrees per section? Because if there's 5 sections at a 90-degree angle, it'd be 18 degrees per angle. So you can take the 2 times the radius sine, 18 degrees divided by 2 to get the chord length.
Check this out, though. If you take a square and each side of that square is 4 inches... Then the circular part, all 4 of the circles are going to be 6 inches. If you make it into 8, if you make it into an octagon, okay, then each one of them are going to be 2,000 foot straight lines in that octagon, and 1,000 foot arcs. If you make it into a 16-agon, it's going to be 500. Okay. I mean, it's going to be in a 32-agon. It's going to be 500-foot straight lines, 750-foot chords. Arcs. If you make it into a 64-agon, it's going to be 250-foot. But I'm just saying feet instead of miles. But dude, there's no getting around this. If you make a disco ball with 4,096 sides, the sides are going to be 5.47, and the arcs are going to be 5.86. So they're easily measurable over that distance. It starts getting unmeasurable when you get within about a mile. You get within a mile, it's unmeasurable.
Yeah, if your math is right, then it should be. They're all saying you're wrong, though. I don't know.
They have to, dude. There's no getting around this, bro. Just keep adding sides to.
The true difference is
we've all agreed that the difference is only 4 millimeters. We've all agreed on this. If you've come up with a different number, you're wrong.
Well, then tell me where it goes wrong. I need to know where it goes wrong, because we all know that if we take a square and each side is 4 miles, we'll say 4 miles, and on each side of the square, then we know that the 4 arcs are going to be 6 miles. Then if we do 8 miles, okay, then we know that they're going to be 16. I mean, it's going to go from, dude, there's no getting around this, bro. Just add a line.
You've done something stupid. I don't care. I can do it a simple way and get a result that everybody
Dude, you said I've done something stupid, but you won't follow me.
Well,
you won't tell me where I'm going wrong. What point does it go wrong, Rumpus?
Well, I can cut to the chase, and Brandon, and George, and everybody else has done the calculations, come up with the same
I
value.
don't care, man.
Well,
You're
okay,
wrong.
So you don't care. Everybody else disagrees with you.
I can demonstrate this in real life, bro. I want to see you demonstrate it in real life.
And other flat Earth. And so everybody who's done the calculation agrees it's 4.27 millimeters, or 1/6 of an inch. The fact that you've come up with a different value is your problem.
Then just show the calculation and prove it.
I can show you.
Where does it go wrong? Rumpus, at what point does the simple math
I'm not your
deviate?
tutor. I'm not your tutor, so I'd have to sit you down and try.
If you can't answer that, then you can't prove me wrong.
No, you've got a problem. We all agree on another number, Brian, and you've got a different answer to everybody else.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. No, not everybody else.
That's your problem.
Because I'm not everybody. Okay, if you draw a side, a square with 4 sides, okay, each one of them labeled 4 miles. What are the arcs going to be, Rumpus?
Well, you've got a square. You haven't got an arc on a square.
No, you draw a circle around a square.
I mean, we need to go through this. I'm gonna have to spend probably a quarter of an hour with you, determining exactly where you've gone wrong. Well,
you're gonna have to.
But I've got
you have to point out where it deviates because it's
Brian,
simple shit.
I can calculate the answer straight away. So can Brandon. So can George. And we all same
if the
answer.
Earth is a sphere and we put a square around it, we're gonna have. If the Earth is
you've
a
got some
sphere,
whack. I mean,
of 24,000 miles
describing what you're doing.
okay?
But Brian, we the rest of us all agree on an answer.
It doesn't matter, bro. There's no getting around this.
There is.
If there is,
You've
you're
got
gonna have
the
to
wrong
tell me where
answer.
it deviates, bro. You're scared to hear
We've
this.
all got the right answer.
Why are you so
You've got the wrong
scared
answer.
to hear the square and the circle?
Because I can't be bothered. It's 12:30 in the night here, so I've got an answer. Even Brandon agrees with the answer. George agrees with the answer. Other people who've done the calculation agrees with the answer. You've got the wrong answer. I don't really care how you've done it.
Okay, then I challenge you. A, to listen. Okay, if I draw a square four-sided and a circle around that square, okay? Picture the Earth.
I'll draw a diagram and you tell me what you're doing.
Let me talk, bro.
Well, okay, let me draw a diagram so I can follow you.
24,000 miles.
Hold on. Can you see my screen? I can draw what you're saying, and then perhaps we'll have a chance.
What's your problem, dude? What's
because
your problem, man?
Because I'm going to try and understand you. It's been known before. I have to draw a diagram, and then I can follow your instructions. And if everybody doesn't mind us going through this ridiculous process, I can do this, and you can give me instructions, and then we can see what you're doing exactly.
Okay.
So, can you see my screen? And so I'll draw a square on it just for you. So here we go. There's my square. Okay? Can you see it? Green square. Can you see that?
I can't see it, but I can. I don't need to see it.
Oh, if you can't see it, then we're not going to bother.
I can see it in my head, dude.
No,
okay, draw on the side of the square.
If you can't see it, I'm not going to proceed. Invariably, that ends in tears.
All right, hold on, man. Hold on. You're scared to even think like this.
No, I'm just scared of wasting time, perhaps. I mean, I don't know if everybody else is interested in dodges. Brandon agrees with the answers we've got. Everybody agrees except Brian. We're giving him basically a tutorial in geometry. I don't know if everybody else is bored by this. I don't know if Brandon wants to spend the time in this bloody hangout just teaching Brian how to do geometry. It's not very productive.
You don't need to draw it, but you can if you want.
I do, so I can understand what you're saying, and so there's no possibility of me misunderstanding, and then I can show you diagrammatically where you're going wrong. It's the only way to do it.
Okay,
sorry?
Well then quit being scared and quit cutting me off, bro.
Can you see my square? Can you see my square?
Yes. Now draw 4 miles or 4,000 miles.
Where's 4,000 miles? Is it? So it's got a radius
of 4,000 miles, Rumpus.
From one side to the other.
Your square's got a radius?
It's 4,000 miles, bro.
Right, so hold on. So are you telling me? So I'm drawing it now. Oh God. Oh bloody! I've got one cut. That's my problem. Sorry.
Rumpus, draw a square with a radius of 4,000 miles.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you're telling me this is 4,000 miles? Is that what you're saying?
Each side is 4,000. We're not doing the middle, bro. That's where you're confusing everybody.
Okay. That's the same as up here. Agreed. Okay. So look. So each side of the square is 4,000 miles. Okay.
Yeah. So draw it up top, outside of your green box. We're never going inside of that bitch. That's where you're fucking people.
So do you agree with my diagram
now?
now?
Now draw a circle around it. Cut it off.
Do you agree with my diagram now? Is that correct?
Huh?
Is my diagram now correct? Are you happy with my diagram?
Yes. Draw a circle around it.
You want me to draw a circle around it. So you want the... Okay, oops, let's get this right. So let me just, hold on, let me just make sure we're in the middle of this.
It's so easy to do in your head, bro.
You will cock it up in some way, shape or form, and I'm not prepared to let you cock it up.
I know.
Rumpus, after you draw a circle around it.
It's pretty tough for a calculator to miscalculate that. Pretty tough.
You will cock it up, there's no doubt about it. Right, so here we go.
I know you think that.
So here we go. So we're now drawing a circle. And you want me to, bugger it. You want me to draw the circle. Which parts of the circle do you want me to?
The only one I might be off on is the very first one. It doesn't matter.
Hold on. Where do you want me to make the pointers contact the circle with the square? Do you want it to be the furthest edge, or do you want it to be at the
point to point?
No, right. Can you see my diagram? Can you tell me whether you want the circle here?
Draw the circle to the outside.
Can you see my diagram? Are you happy with as it is at the moment?
Rumpus, you're going to have bulge sticking up outside of the square.
Do you agree with where it is at the moment or not?
Make the circle bigger, bro.
Right, so you want the circle to be
Quit acting stupid. Yeah. Now you see how the arcs are bigger than the straight lines?
Right.
Okay, now.
Okay.
Put that circle into 4 sections. Okay, and don't put any measurements ever on the inside during the time we do this.
So you now want you want me to break the circle up into. So you want me to break the circle
put
up
a
into
line.
4 bits.
Just put a plus in the middle of it. Put a big old plus.
You want me to put a plus?
And now you'll have 4 sections of circle, correct?
All right, you want to cut it, right? So you want me to draw 4 lines? Okay, let me get rid of these. So
draw a plus sign on the whole over the whole screen.
Okay. Right. So I'm now going to draw a plus. So here we go. So there we go. Right. So I've now cut the circle into 4 bits. Okay.
Okay. So would you agree that each of them 4 arcs is 6,000? We went from 12,000 for 2 sides. Now we're at 4 sides, and we're going to 6,000. Would you agree that each one of them?
What's this got to do with the square?
Would you agree?
No, I
would
don't
you agree
understand.
that each one of them arcs are 6,000?
What was the point of this square of the 4,000?
Because you're a simpleton.
I'm gonna get a soda too. Hold on.
What? How have you divided? What have you divided to get? Well, it was you said 12,000. What have you divided by 4?
Follow me.
No, I don't understand you. You've given me a square. You told me the square is 4,000. And now you suddenly divided something by 4, which you haven't mentioned, and then you're saying the arc length is this value you've divided by 4. What have you divided by 4 to get you that arc length?
4 sections, dumbass.
But what have you divided by 4? You've just given me the sides of a square, and suddenly you're talking about an arc length. Right. Look, here's the diagram.
Each one of them straight lines.
Right.
Over each one of them straight lines is 6,000. The straight lines are 4,000.
This distance you made of this arc length. You were saying, well, I'm going to put X here. How have you determined the arc length here? This arc length, you've just given me a value for it. How? What have you done to determine the value of X?
Geometry.
How? Give me the formula you've used to give this value of X.
Rumpus, listen very carefully. Rumpus, hold on. It's ratio. He's not giving you any values of number. It's ratio.
Of what to what?
It's not hard, Rumpus.
What is he get? He's told me a value for the value of X. He has yet to tell me how he's done this.
It's not... Okay.
He gave me a value,
hold on,
Travis,
Brian.
and I want him to tell me how he got that value.
Okay, what value did he give you? Hold on, what value did he give you?
I think it was, he said it was 12,000 divided by 4. I didn't quite catch it. He gave me a value though for this arc length. He gave me
what it is. The circumference is 24,000. Okay.
Right, so
all we're doing is
so you want this X value is equal to
all we're doing is dividing the circumference.
Circumference divided by 4. Is that where you're getting the value from?
Yes.
Right. So why didn't you bloody say so, you twat? Jesus Christ, you bloody moron.
Dude, all you had to do was follow me.
I kept on asking you the same question, and you said, you didn't answer. It's a very simple question.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you see how he doesn't understand that
you're
6 equals
a
the 4?
moron.
He got to have the formula. If he doesn't have the formula, he doesn't have a clue what's going on in reality.
Value, and I have to know how you got there. And because
it's just a ratio. It's just straight.
He wasn't even paying attention.
Right,
Rumpus,
so now
you wasn't even paying attention.
I asked him to derive me the value, and he refused to give it to me. It's a simple
He wasn't even
fact.
paying attention.
I was paying full attention.
the value 1,000
and he
times.
refused to give.
All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut the show a little short tonight due to some technical issues that I've been trying to resolve in the background. Maybe you heard me rummaging around. We'll have to see if these guys ever resolve that tomorrow. I will record the after show, although if it will ever be available, that's anyone's guess. You can come into the Discord if you're dying to know how this is resolved, and hang out and listen in. The link is in the description. Feel free to stop in and say hello, listen to the rest of the conversation. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you who super chatted or Streamlabs tonight. Appreciate it. Shout out to my channel members. Thank you very much, guys. We will talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Something's wrong with YouTube too. It's not telling me what's going on. Oh boy. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm going to blow up my computer tonight. So I've got to go find some dynamite and go take care of that. Have a good night, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.